أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, marantog ka. Warag po ko iling ko'y ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
We welcome you to today's webinar workshop on tooling artificial intelligence at Unida Christian Colleges. This session is brought to you by the Science Department. My name is Ms. Twinkle Tobias, a science faculty member and your MC for today. Before we begin, please be guided of the house rules for today's session. First, The event will be recorded for documentation purposes. All guest participants are automatically muted upon entry. For speakers and the reactors, please keep your microphone muted, especially if it is not your turn to speak. For attendees, please send your questions, specify to whom it is addressed to, through the chat box so that we can note this and raise it during our open forum. Let us now start the webinar with welcome remarks from the Science Coordinator, Mr. Joshua Vidal.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. So, thank you for joining in our webinar and workshop at the same time. I am seeing actually very familiar faces in the session for this morning. Thank you so much for joining. Actually, it's not just open for the UCC. There were other participants who are outside the UCC community, and you are all welcome. Okay, so I hope no, I would not make these remarks longer because I know everybody is excited to know what is the essence, no? Ano ba tong recurring themes na lumalabas sa atin ngayon, not just in social media, but in every aspects of our lives. We are hearing the term artificial intelligence right now. But I just want also to make a disclaimer that later on we will not discuss every realms of or every realm in the artificial intelligence because we don't have enough time in the world to discuss that. However, we will focus, no, we will dive more onto the uh, integration of artificial intelligence in the education sector. And that means that we will be discussing some of the aspects from the students, perceptions from the students, from the teachers, from our school leaders, no, the leadership team, and what else can we do about it? Is it good? Is it a boon or bane? That's really the question right now in the artificial intelligence. Is it a blessing or a curse to everybody? But of course, I would not divulge that anything from that, no, because I know for sure that you are all excited to hear from the discussion of our speakers this morning. Again, I would like to remind everybody that this is just a very chill presentation, to everyone. Make yourselves comfortable. Take your or sip your coffee with you. You can have your snacks there if you wish, no? And you may or you may not open your camera. It's up to you where you're comfortable, no, joining in this session. Once again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our workshop webinar.
Thank you, Sir Josh. We now move on to the main part of our program, as I know that everyone is already excited to hear from our speakers. But let me introduce them first. So, for our first speaker, our keynote speaker today is Mr. Lemuel Ramos. Mr. Lemuel Ramos is currently serves as Unida Christian College's robotics specialist, showing expertise in the STEM and robotics fields. He is currently pursuing his master's degree in science, biology, and also a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. Moreover, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in secondary education, major in biological science at Cavite State University, Silang Campus, batch 2019. He has been teaching in basic education since 2019 and currently teaching in Unida Christian Colleges as science teacher, a science teacher in the basic education department. Mr. Ramos is also a licensed professional teacher. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Lemuel Ramos.
Hello, good morning. So mic test. Can you hear me? All right. So can I have a response if you can hear me? So you can have a emoji here or you can have here some in-call messages on our chat. All right. So are you excited for this webinar series in our day for today? Alright. Sige, so let's start. So sabi nga natin, 'di ba? So let's have a chill kasi ito lang naman ay some very informative and trends in our education setup. So we're in. So what are the things in terms of artificial intelligence and how we're going to deal with them and what are those approaches that we can take for us to utilize properly and efficiently and also effectively? What are those tools to we have for this day? So let me share my presentations to you. So for our All right, so let's start. So we have our tooling artificial intelligence at the Unida Christian College. So this will be the part one of our EduVerse Discourse series of our science department that is being headed by our dear Sir Joshua Vidal. So for this day, so we have some connotations and already have an insight. So what are the artificial intelligence? Uh, do you have any idea what are the artificial intelligence? And so came from our teachers. So for you, what are your perspectives about artificial intelligence? So can we have here in our in-call messages? How about also on our participating students? What are your insights about artificial intelligence? And so came from Sir Joshua Vidal. So we have robots. All right, so we're going to find out if robots are connected with artificial intelligence. Yeah. How about from our students? So I am seeing right now some students on our Google Meet. So came from Sir Aston, so we have machine learning. Ayan. So from Megan, so we have also machine and deep learning for Sir Joshua Vidal. So what really is artificial intelligence and what are the differentiations with the machine learning? So based on this one, so artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science that aims to develop intelligent machines capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. So on this time, so we are now progressive approach on the fourth industrial revolutions wherein it all starts on the first. Siyempre naman, di ba? So what are the deals or what are the innovation in terms of the first industrial revolution? So those are the simple machines, then naging steam engines, and then after nun, nagkaroon tayo ng revolutions on the machines, telecommunications, and computers. And then after that, innovations on the hardware part, we are now on the software part and that deals on the automations. And then to do that automations, we are requiring or we need the machine learning process to have the artificial intelligence. From the word itself, artificial, it means, syempre, not natural. It is man-made. And then that intelligence serve as the skills or the capability to think and to process. So for this one, capable of performing tasks that typically require human intelligence. So it is an aid for us to do something or for us to do um, other things that require computations, thinking, mental processes, and analytical processes. So those are the artificial intelligence. For this one, so what are the artificial intelligence educations in the world? So what are the trends? What are the current setups? And what are the current situations and conditions in the artificial intelligence in terms of education in the world? So based on Andreas Schreckler. Ayan. So, remote classrooms, however, are not the same as smart ones. 'Di ba? So, galing tayo from the pre-pandemic na classroom setups and then bigla tayo nag-shift ng bigla-bigla and then after nga nagkaroon tayo ng classroom setup or online distance learnings. So, wherein again, remote classrooms, however, are not the same as smart ones. Baka kasi iba natin, ginawa natin as a teachers and also experienced by our students na yung mismong classroom setups natin ay dinala lang natin sa ating online setup. Pero what are the things that we are being utilized here? So gumamit pa tayo ng educational technology or advances, machine learnings, or simple as just Google Chrome extensions or actual Google Meet and other artificial intelligence utilities. Now is the time for schools to dive into digital. So, ito ay isang progressive matters wherein hindi talaga natin siya mapipigilan. So, what are the things we need to do to be able to jive with that is, syempre, to adapt with the change. And wherein, we need also to jive with that. And then, how about the artificial education situations in the Philippines? Based on the article of the Business World 2023, so experts are calling for the establishment and adoptions of ethical guidelines to ensure responsible use of artificial intelligence in the Philippine educational institutions. So ito hindi na talaga natin mapipigilan. Tama po ba, teachers and students? So may I know dito, syempre. So sa teachers natin, sino ba dito yung gumagamit ng any AI tools? Kahit yung simple lang. Ayan, aminin natin, teachers, meron po ba? Ayan, para phrasing tool, yan, such as the Quillbot, yan, Grammarly. So those are simple AI tools. So how we're going to utilize them? And then that just a simple things or simple tools that uses the concept of AI. So how about into complex one na very powerful such as the ChatGPT. So how we're going to regulate that in terms of educational setup and how the students will jive with that and utilize that properly. Again, utilize properly as a student. Okay? Because nandiyan na yan eh. So how we're going to use that efficiently and without connotations of being bad on the artificial intelligence. Kasi lagi lang naman niyang may pros and cons in terms of AI educations in the current setups of our time. So, AI in education. So, has the potential to revolutionize the field of educations in terms of instructional materials, the teaching learning process, transforming traditional teaching and learning methods. Di ba dati, normally until that current time, present time, still meron pa rin tayong classroom setup, but how we're going to be innovative on that four sides or four corners of the classroom. So how we're going to implement the AI tools or different machine learning tools on the current setups. So incorporating AI in education can bring numerous benefits, including personalized learning experiences. So what are those things on what can we give on our students and enhance teacher support and improve administrative efficiency in terms of our school administrations. So you can use a slide design that combines educational-related visuals with AI-related visuals for this one, for the education setups to be more appealing and more engaging to our students. So what are the trends in AI in education? So what do you think are some of the trends or current setups in education? Yan. So sa tingin niyo, ano kaya mga present na balita about AI? Kasi parang sobrang bilis eh. In just a year, in just 2 years, mismong pandemic, biglang nag-progress yung AI, di ba? So ano yung idea niyo or connotation sa very progressive na changes and development in AI? Sige nga. So let's hear from our teachers, school administrators, and students. So what are your some ideas in terms of trends in AI? And so, do you have any experiences? Hindi ba yung para kayong na, shucks, alam may AI pala, ganun. Nag-i-exist pala yun, no? So, all on these setups, ayan. So, AI is becoming useful in research. Ayan, so that's right. So, came from Mr. Vidal. And in terms of Ma'am Pat, so we have the response generations. And from Ma'am Kyla, so they're now AI generating images or yung mga tinatawag nating generative artificial intelligence in terms of music, digital creations, and so on. So useful in arts. Ayan. So came from Ma'am Shaira. So those are some trends in AI in education, specifically in education na baka kasi mamaya isipin natin in business. So those are the trends in business. So what are the decision making? So iba yan. So dito naman, how we're going to utilize the AI in educations. So did you know that your students are using AI, teachers? And this question is for the teachers. Did you know that your students are using AI? Yan. So came from Shaira. Yes, na yes. Ayan. So how about the other teachers? Ayan, yes, absolutely. Let's ask naman, did you know that even teachers are using AI? Came from the students. Sige, tanungin naman natin ng students. Ayan, students. Students, did you know? Ayan, yes. Joke lang po. Wala, sino ba teacher nito? De, joke lang. Ayan. So, yes po. Ha, 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 ha. Ayan. So, all of us are using AIs. Even the teachers, the students, ang pinaka-lowest level na na-experience ko or na-observe ko na gumagamit ng AI is a grade 7. Galing sa klase ni Ma'am Meryl. Ayun, kasi nabagit niya sa amin, gumagamit daw dun eh. Ayun. So, sa ganung level pa lang, we are now using AI sa students. But, not just the students. Siyempre, teachers are need to jive with the changes and progressive approach of the AI. Siyempre, tayo yung magiging guidance. No? So, what are the tools and perspective of AI in the different approaches. So for this time, so we're going to discuss the different perspective of the students, number one. And then next one, the perspective of the teachers. And then the perspective of the parents. So I know walang parents dito, but we will going also to discuss on how we're going to utilize the AI tools as a parent and also for us teachers to have a better communications with them between the teachers and also the parents and other stakeholders. And then last one is we're going to have the discussions about the AI tools that can be utilized by the school administrators, such as our coordinators, principals, and higher ups. So for this one, AI indication and teaching learning process. So we have here some examples. So we have the personalized learning experience, gamification, immersive learning, and the career and future skills development. So for this one, staying updated with these trends is crucial. Again, crucial to leveraging the full potential of AI in education. So how we're going to utilize them? So are you ready? Yan. So teachers, students, and school administrators. Yan. So coordinators. Ayan. So are you ready to dive with that and to discuss what are the different perspectives of the teachers, students, parents, and school administrators regarding with the AI on how we will going to utilize them effectively, efficiently, and correctly and properly. Ayan. So are you ready? So yes. Ayan. So let's start with our first one. So let's start with the insights and perspectives of the students. Students, unlocking the potential, empowering students through AI in education. So on this one, nakanang picture makikita natin, di ba? Robotics. Ayan. So, in my experience, ayan. So, pinagamit ko na yung AI with the students and that becomes effective. But also, again, ay development and some challenges. Ibig sabihin nun, although may AI na, pero hindi pa rin nila napagana. Ano yung connotation nun? So, it means it need, again, the specific critical thinking skills still of the students. So, hindi pa rin talaga magre-rely si students on the AI kasi kailangan pa rin siya ng critical thinking skills ng bata. So, for this one, so, on the perspective of the students, we can have the personalized learning experience. So, this is tailored for success, personalized learning experience, and in terms of AI, it adapts the content, pace, and assessment methods to students' unique needs and learning styles. So, kung dati, kung tayo si teachers, meron tayong students na 500 students per day, hindi naman natin makikilala yung mga students, di ba? Isa-isa literal, no? Pero in terms of AI, di ba, let's have example on other perspective. 'Di ba nag-i-scroll kayo sa social media ninyo, tapos may kinlik kayong isang link. Hindi phishing, may kinlik kayong isang link and then after nun kinlose niyo tapos nag-scroll ulit kayo tapos sunod-sunod nung lumabas yon. Let's say for example, kinlik niyo isang link or picture ng sapatos and then after a while napapansin niyo yung laman ng social media ninyo is puro sapatos na. Ibig sabihin nun, the AI get data from you. Same thing with the AI in terms of education. The AI gets data from the students in terms of their unique style and learning style so that the teaching and learning process can adjust efficiently and effectively to the needs of the students. Ibig sabihin, ano ba yung magiging kailangan niya? Ako ha, so how the motivational approach of the students and what would be the response of the students. Ibig sabihin, direct impact siya. Ibig sabihin, direct needs na nakikita ng AI and then that is effectively viewed by the teacher na, uy, ito pala yung kailangan niya, no? And same thing with the perspective of the students. Since AI is getting data from you, so you can have insight also of your learning style. So what would be the effective learning styles from you? Paano ka ba dapat mag-review? So dapat ba pag nag-review ka, tulog muna, tapos tulog na lang forever, or tulog muna, tas aral ulit, tas tulog ulit, tas aral ulit? Or aral-aral ka ng mga 3 days, no? Ayan. So depende yan. So that is also an example. So wherein AI is efficient and effective in terms of that personalized learning experience. So students embark on the personalized learning journey where education is tailored to the individual's strengths and areas of growth. So that is the power of AI in terms of your personalized learning experience. So what would be the benefits of personalized learning experience? So on the first one, enhance engagement. So students are motivated and engaged through customized learning experiences that cater to their interests and preferences. Since AI already know what would be your interests, preferences, and direct needs, so AI can suggest what would be the effective motivational approach and activities for you. O, ba? So, yan. So, this is for the insights or perspective of students. So, improve academic performance. So, personalized learning boosts understandings, retention, and academic achievement by addressing individual learning gaps. So, dito kasi, di ba, again, ina-identify nyo kung ano yung needs mo. Ano ba yung growths mo, strengths mo, and weaknesses. So, on that one, it can be evaluated what would be the best learning approach for you. So, ano ba yung best na methods na pwede mong gamitin. So, that's one, empowered learners. Hindi naman ito yung may motivation na hindi naman ito yung parang motivational quotes na binabasa mo, no? Go, 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 laban lang, no? Hindi yung ganyan na sasabihin tayo ng AI. So, sasabihin niya sa'yo directly what are your needs. Ako as students. And then, of their learning, building autonomy, and self-efficacy. So, those are the personalized learning experience. So, next one, so we have the gamification in immersive learning. So lahat naman ng bata ngayon naglalaro. Ayan, kasi given talaga sa bata ang naglalaro. Tama ba kids? Kayo ba ay naglalaro pa rin hanggang ngayon? Ayan, not literally yung mismong laruan, but the mobile games, computer games, digital games, or as simple as lato-lato. Pero yung nandun sa Android, klak, klak, klak. Ayan hindi ka may lato-lato sa cellphone nun. Ayan, joke lang. Ayan, so gamifications of learning and immersive learning. So dito na papasok yung game development and then also AI. So what are your learning styles again? Papasok pa rin tayo sa personalized learning experience na i-apply natin sa gamification. Okay? So wherein, what are your personalized learning experience? And then that data will give to the game and then that game will give you the insights of learning for you to have an effective approach. Let's say, for example, gusto mo ng memorization. So the AI suggests to the games that this is your learning style so that the game will show you the correct way on how you will going to learn effectively. So let's say, for example, memorization. So you will going to memorize all of the joints in the body. So yan. So ngayon, so nakita ni AI, uy, effective ka sa flashcards. Ayan. So may mga flashes, may mga names na magpa-flash doon sa ating screen. So depende yan kung ano yung gamit natin, no? and immersive learning. So, the first one, so level up, gamification, immersive learning, and gamification adds excitement by incorporating game elements, rewards, and competition into learning process. So, immersive learning takes students on virtual journeys, bringing lessons to life through virtual reality and augmented reality. So, yan. So, naalala ko nung online class, yung hawak pa yung Genbayo, yung nakita ko dun sa learning competency ay gagawa daw ng model ng cell gamit yung tawag dun, um, recyclable materials. Eh, para hindi na magsayang ng recyclable materials, so ayan, so gumamit tayo ng game. So, let's say for example, the Minecraft. So, ayun, so may gumamit sila ng Minecraft to design the cell models. Ayan, so through simulations and gamifications. So, as of this current time, so VR is very cheap. Unlike before. So, VR, ayan. So, yung mga VR box na ginagamit natin, that corresponds to the immersive learning experience. So, what would be the benefits of gamification? So, motivation on fire. So, alam naman natin yung bata, gusto talaga na maglaro yan. So, what if direct yung approach natin dyan? And also, yung kids, what would be your best learning process? Kung gusto niyo maglaro pero gusto niyo pa rin namang mag-aral kaso nga tinatamad kayo magbasa ng libro, so gawin yung games, no? Ayan. So, there are some now AI tools that gives you specific topics. Okay, bibigyan mo lang yung specific topics tapos bibigyan ka niya ng specific games. So, yun siya. So, that is the gamification process. So, on that way, so your motivation is always on fire. So, increase motivations, deepen learning, because that is your interest, and then collaborative spirit. Especially yung may mga collaborative games. So, let's say, for example, may mga nakikita akong as simple as chess. Yeah, mga hindi na sila nagdadala ng chess, pero may chess sila sa cellphone nila. Tapos dalawa sila naglalaro doon sa tabi. Ayan. So, on that way, it increases the critical thinking skills of the students or youth. So, what would be the benefits of immersive learning? So, usually, immersive learning, it corresponds to the aspects of visual, tactile, ibig sabihin yung overall experiences. And then, it deals a step into a new world. So, real world experiences. So, familiar kayo sa mga simulations. Ayan. So, dito papasok ang immersive learning. So, especially kapag it deals, again, with your visuals and tactility. Active engagement and multisensory adventure. Ayan. Next one is career and future skills development. So, unleash your potentials. So, kayo ba kids, as students, so alam nyo na ba kung ano yung mga iti-take ninyo sa college? Yan, kids. So, I know dito, yan. Si Gian, si Faith. Ayan. So, how about the other students? Ayan. Si Rizket. So, alam nyo na ba kung ano iti-take nyo sa college? Ayan. So, on the most traditional way ng ating schools is meron tayong tinatawag na NCAE, no? Tama po ba, teachers and school administrators? Ayan. So, sa NCAE, nalalaman natin what would be your strengths and weaknesses and possible growths and challenges. So, doon pa lang, malalaman natin, oy, what would be the possible field or career na pwede mong pasukan? But, because of AI, so dito pa lang tinitignan na. So, what would be your potential on this field? So, you can take some games, assessments, interactive games. So, yun. So, on that way, you can nourish and grow on your potential skills. So, unleash your potentials for the career and future skills development. So, we have also AI-powered tools equip students with essential skills that required for the future in a rapidly evolving digital landscape. So, let's say, for example, the coding and data analysis is a critical thinking and problem solving prepares students to tackle challenges and seize opportunities in their careers. So especially yung mga nag-aim into data science, computer engineering, or IT-related careers. So, yan. So, not just IT is a type lang daw, pero it requires a deep sense of critical thinking skills on how you will going to analyze a data. Ako ha? So, dito pa lang makikita na natin na, uy, um, what would be my potential? So, am I capable for this field? So, what would be my skills? What would be my strengths and weaknesses? Ayan. So, let's say for example, di ba sa Facebook may mga nilalaro kayong mga memes ba yun? Yung sa OMG? Sinong papakasalan mo in 2025? Na joke lang. So, those are some examples na kumukuha ng data sa'yo and what would be your possible careers. So, yan. So, yan. So, what would be the benefits and of career and future skills development? So, unang-una, future-proof journey. So, ibig sabihin ng future-proof, magtatagal ka ba? Yung skills na tinake mo or yung career na meron ka is hindi ba mapag-iiwanan? Ayun, of the progressive trends of our world. And then next one, adaptability. So future skills enable students to navigate in ever-changing technological landscape. So technological development will never stop. It always progressive and always times two. Ibig sabihin, lagi yan, nagmumultiply yung growth ng and development yan. So, paano ka makakapag-adapt doon? So, next one naman is, as a students, pag nakagraduate tayo, so enhance employability because of your skills, not just your degree. So, innovations and creativity. So, di ba kung may mga nakikita kayo ng mga trends, what are the skills that what are the skills that can equip you on the future and changing world. So, yan. So, we have the innovations and creativity. So, as a students, unleash your potential. Embrace the power of AI in your educational journey. So, that's how AI becomes your friend. Ayan. Becomes your friend, pero huwag mo ipagtatago. Nako. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin, use that effectively because it has a lot of benefits. It has a lot of potential for you as a learner to use that in a learning process and learning grow. Yan. So, students, may questions ba tayo sa ating perspectives as a students? Ayan. So, next naman natin. So, next perspective naman natin is for the perspective of the teachers. So, sabi natin, di ba? So, teachers are using AI. So, how you are using that? So, tama ba yung paggamit natin? Or do we use that effectively and efficiently? Or ginagamit lang natin siya kasi nandyan siya? No? So, empowering educators. So, we're going to harness the power of AI in teaching and also learning process. So first one, what are the perspective of the teachers? So intelligent classroom, teaching learning process and virtual assistant and AI in LMS or learning management system. So for the AI world, so what are the things that we are using? So transforming teaching, intelligent classroom, learning process, and virtual assistants. So, di ba, teachers, meron tayong parang mga chatbots na sinasabi natin, no? So, how we're going to use that effectively in terms of communications with our students in the LMS, Google Classroom, CISO, and so on. So, AI-powered learning management, enhance the teaching and learning process by providing intelligent classroom support and virtual assistants. So, 'di ba, some of the LMS may mga lumalabas na tips. Ayun. So those are some of the basic examples of virtual assistants because it caters your needs as a teacher na, uy, ano ba yung gagawin dito? So tapos may bigla-bigla na lang na lalabas na tips, suggestions, guides. So yun yun. So teachers can leverage AI to personalize instructions, provide timely feedback, and facilitate interactive learning experiences. So you as a teachers become more effectively and efficient in terms of teaching learning process because less time na yung pakikipag-deal mo with the technology because of the assistance of the AI. So what would be the benefits of intelligent classroom teaching learning process? So enhance the personalized instruction. So kung kanina, personalized learning experience of the students it gets the data from the students for them to have an effective learning process on their growth. Dito naman, syempre, personalized instructions. Ibig sabihin, what would be the personalized experience na binibigay sa'yo ng AI and how you will going to give that to your students for you to become effective and efficient. The efficient classroom management. So, ikaw ba ay nahihirapan na sa paperworks at napakaraming i-checkan? So, yun. So, we have some AI tools that we can use to check and to rate, to cater some of the assessments and instructional materials. So next one is we have the engaging learning experience. So because of the AI and then process in the LMS, since senior high ay meron pa rin naman tayong um, online class. So we can use AI for us or for us to have a engaging learning experience. Next one, ayan. So, yung para sa mga gumagawa ng leg, ayan. Ako rin po kulang pa. De, joke lang. Ayan. So, we have the lesson planning and educational resources. So, this is very revolutionizing experience or tools for the teachers. Ayan. So, the revolutionizing lesson planning, so AI-driven tools and educational resources on how we will going to use the AI for us to have a lesson plan. And also, again, effective and efficient lesson plan. Ayan. So, mamaya bibigyan ko kayo ng example. So, kung ano yung pwede natin gawin on some learning experience and lesson planning. So, AI-powered tools assist teachers in creating comprehensive lesson plans, generating educational resources, and aligning curriculum standards. Because the AI already assess and evaluate your given curriculums or your given simple lesson plan to make them align, starting from the objectives and then align the assessment with your goal objectives. 'Di ba? Minsan teachers, meron tayong specific objectives and then iba yung nagiging assessments natin. So somehow related siya pero hindi siya aligned on that specific competencies and skills. So AI can suggest you an effective learning activities on how you will going to deal with your students and teaching learning process. Yan. So what would be the benefits of lesson planning and educational resources? So unang-una, time saving efficiency kasi hindi ka na makikipagbuno sa lesson planning sa leg ng isang linggo gawin yun. So in just few clicks, so bibigyan ka na niya ng ah, proper lesson plans na pwede mong i-adapt and i-align. So, enrich contents. So, enrich contents not just na, di ba, as a teachers, yung mga dati. So, kung ano yung talagang alam ni teachers, kung ano yung naging experience ni teachers in years of teaching and also yung natutunan niya sa schools during college, is yun yung maibibigay niya sa students. So, dito naman, it is a collective data wherein it can give you an enriched assessment tools kung ano yung pwede mong gamitin. Next one is we have the collaborative planning. So dito naman, so AI platforms facilitate collaboration among teachers, allowing them to share resources, exchange ideas, and co-create lesson plan. Ayan. Next one. So, data analytics for instructional improvement. So, data analytics in education, aka assessment of learning. So, data analytics is you were going to assess a large of data in terms of computer science term. Pero in educational setup, data analytics is the assessment of learning. So, ibig sabihin, how we're going to judge the rate, evaluate, and assess the performance of our students. So, unleashing insights. So, data analytics for instructional improvements. So, because of the given data that came from your students, ano yung pwedeng i-suggest ng AI sa'yo? So, what would be the preferences of the students? What would be the challenges of the students? So, what would be the things to improve by the students? So, yan. So, AI can give you already the actual judgments. Not just the actual judgment, but also the feedbacks and suggestions based on the given data. Let's say, for example, so ano yung scores ni students on exam? So ano yung ibig sabihin ng numbers na yon? So hindi na tayo mahirapan somehow on the judgment and ratings of each student. So lalo na kapag napakaraming students, no? So we are going to have a focus on each individual students. So teachers can utilize data-driven approaches to track progress. So usually, 'di ba? So somehow sa ating Google Classroom, meron na tayong isang hilera doon ng class records, and then what would be the assessment and evaluations for that. So measure growth and implement targeted interventions. So ito na siya. So what are the specific needs of the students and implement for improved students outcome. So what would be the benefits of our data analytics for instructional improvement? So informed decision making. So yan. So AI can give you suggestions. So what are the things to be improved by the students? Next one, early intervention. So yan. So wherein it can give you already the insights. So what are the things that needs to be improved by the students? What are the things that needs to be complied by the students as teachers? And then next one is the continuous improvement. So lalong-lalo na kapag yung track or learning progress ng bata ay nakikita talaga nila. So they can have a monitor of their assessments and their scores and ratings. So, di ba, on our DepEd um, guidelines, so we have our written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessment. So, how AI can help us to monitor the written works, performance tasks, and quarterly assessments of these students and get data from that, and for us to have the judgment or informations about the specific students. Next one. Yan. So as a teacher, professional development and AI training. So not just on the assessment, not just on the lesson planning, instructional materials, and so on. So in also empowers educations through professional development because of the ever-changing AI and development. So AI-based professional development opportunities provide teachers with access to online courses, webinars, and communities of practice. So ito, given na to somehow, medyo matagal na, previous year. So let's say for example, the University of the Philippines Open University. So that is in the form of MOOC. Ayan. So teachers can enhance their pedagogical skills, learn about innovative AI tools that can be utilized inside the classroom, and exchange best practices with fellow educators. So di ba kapag after na, usually in deliberation, so what would be the effective skills that you are using, especially if you have the same subjects that you are teaching. So especially in senior high school na meron tayong multiple teachers in one subjects wherein nagkakaroon sila ng sharing, what are the things na magandang gamitin. So, oy, share mo naman yan, no? So, what are the AI tools that you are using in online setup, in classroom setup, or in asynchronous setup? So what would be the benefits of professional development and AI training? So unang-una, so teachers needs to have a continuous growth. So AI helps on that development. So AI-based professional development empowers teachers to stay updated with the latest educational trends and pedagogical approaches. Collaborative learning. And then, online communities of practice foster knowledge sharing, collaboration, and networking among educators. And the next one is the effective interventions. Because of the AI, it can give you an insights and feedbacks and suggestion on how you are going to have an effective teaching learning process inside the classroom and also as effective educator inside and outside of the school premises. Yeah, so those are the benefits of the professional development of AI training. So last for this one, so empowered educators as well as empowered students, AI's impact on teaching and learning process. So that is for the teachers' perspectives. So teachers, do you have any questions about the perspective of teachers in terms of AI? And ayan, baka kasi yung hindi pa may iba pang hindi nakakaalam, ayan. So, I will going to show you a short preview on how the lesson planning of the AI work. So let's say, for example, we have some AI here. So I know some of the teachers are already see this one, but also for the other teachers na pwede niyong magamit. So this is an AI tool based on the GPT-3 database. So this is for the lesson planner PH. So ang gagawin lang natin dito, enter the code came from the milks, and then the objectives you want to teach, and then English or Filipino. Let's say, for example, let's open the milks. And then pili tayo ng, ay sorry, hindi pala nakashare. Ayan. Wait lang. So we're going to share the screen. Ayan. So I know some of the teachers already see this one, this AI tool in terms of lesson planning. So let's say, for example, this is the lesson planner PH in 4A. So teachers, familiar naman tayo sa format na 4As, di ba? So this is only an example to give an insight on on how powerful an AI is and how effective and efficiently. So dito, kuha lang tayo ng isang code sa MELCs natin. So let's say, for example, kuha tayo ng ito ay anong subject? Ay, medyo kuha pa tayo sa mga kasunod. Yan. Kuha tayo sa senior high kasi mostly ng teachers natin ay senior high. Yan. Wait lang, hanapin natin. Ayan. So, let's say, for example, physical science. Ayan. So, meron tayong CG codes na tinatawag or curriculum guide code. So, ito siya. So, ang gagawin natin is just copy lang natin siya. Ito, copy. And then, punta tayo dito. Paste natin yung CG code natin. And what would be the specific objectives na kailangan natin? So, let's say, for example, ano ba kinapin natin? 15. 3C15, ito siya. And then, ito yung mismong specific objectives na kailangan natin. So, we have to determine if a molecular is polar or non-polar given on its structures. 'Di ba dati nakikipagbuno tayo ng isang linggo sa paggawa ng leg. So select lang natin yung translation or language and then look for it on how easy it is. So dito binigyan niya sa iyo yung objective and then yung specific subject niya. Usually that falls on the chemistry part of the physical science. And then what would be the actual lesson plans that you can use, and also it suggests to you the lesson proper and also the activities and then assignments and also the resources. Diretso na, di ba? So teachers, ang pakadali. So wherein you have the review and then the specific activity, the analysis, and then abstraction. So what would be the students to be learned, and then applications, and also the quiz. And also assignments and interactive activities. Yeah, so those are some of the examples on how powerful an AI and how easy an AI is. Ayan. So, do you have any questions, teachers? So, there are so many things you will going to explore in terms of AI. So, yan. So, that is only for lesson planning. Ayan. But, in terms of instructional materials, ay napakadami. Just explore po. So, yan. Next one is, in terms of the perspective of parents and stakeholders. So, what would be the engagement of parents on the AI trends? So unang-una, enhance the parents, schools, communications, connecting for success. 'Di ba? Alam naman natin, parents are stakeholders of our schools, of our educational sectors. They are the supports of our students. They are the support of our education institution. So AI-powered communication platforms, mobile apps, and chatbots facilitates seamless communication between parents and school. As simple as this. Parents inquires on our Facebook page, UCC Officials, and then may chatbots doon. As simple as that. It enhanced the parent-school communication. So usually, di ba, kapag common naman yung questions ng mga parents natin or stakeholders, so it can be easily answered by the chatbots. Pero lalo na ngayon, may mga high intelligent chatbots na tayong ginagamit. No? So that can deal specific questions at kung anumang language yung gagamitin ng inquirer. Ayan. And then real-time updates. in terms of your students' performance, ano yung ginagawa ng students nila, nasan yung students nila, and so on. So that is only the enhanced parent-school communications. Next one is the student safety and well-being. So, di ba, student safety and well-being is the most and top priority of the schools and also for the teachers and also for you as a parent that you na naihatid mo ang iyong anak at safe siyang pumapasok sa school and how AI deals with that. So let's say for example, eto matagal na nag-i-exist, 'di ba? Pag tinap yung ID doon sa RFID, ay mare-receive na text yung parent. So what's more on our present time? What are the things we can develop out of AI and how we're going to engage the parents with the communications and implements the safety and well-being of our students. Ayan. So in terms of parents, so we are building strong partnerships, empowering stakeholders and parents through AI in education. So that is the perspective of the AI in that is the perspective of parents in AI. Ayan. So, some of our teachers here are also parents. Ayan. So, alam naman natin, no? So, may questions po ba tayo or feedbacks from our parents and teachers? Ayun. So, thank you so much. Kasi need natin i-cater ang parents and stakeholders. Kasi they are the support, again, of our educational sectors. They are the support of our school. They are the foundation of the learners. Kasi sila yung nasa bahay at doon umuwi ang mga ating students, no? Ayan. Next one naman, school administrators. Ayan. So how the school administrators, the coordinators, principals, NTPs can use the AIs for us to develop and have a growth and development in our school premises. So efficiency and innovation, revolutionizing school administrations with AI. So what are the perspective of school administrators and in terms of AI? So unang-una, administrative automation. Yan. So napakaraming paperworks in terms of administrative functions, calendar timings, schedulings, and so on. So what if we can automate that? So unang-una, streamlined operations. So administrative automations through AI. So 'di ba may mga AIs na ngayon, so especially kay kahit dati pa lang kay Siri, 'di ba babanggitin mo lang schedule me at the coffee shop at 10 a.m. Friday 2030. Ayan. So, i-schedule ka na niya sa mismong, lalagay niyo pa lang yun sa calendar mo. So, ngayon, because of the advancement of AI, pag sinabi mo yun sa AI, tatawagan niya na mismo yung coffee shop at i-schedule ka na niya doon. So, yan. So, dito din, same thing din, no? Sa pag binigay mo yung command kay AI naman ngayon, it can, if you are a coordinator, so you can give the specific instructions for the AI and then it will give the specific insights on what are the things to be done, what are the specific process, what would be the suggestions of the time frame of that specific task. So yan, next one, AI can automate administrative tasks such as attendance management. So let's say for example, our HRIS is website-based pa lang. But pero mukhang papunta naman na sa AI base. So yan, by leveraging AI-powered systems, schools can improve efficiency, reduce manual effort, manual labor, and enhance administrative processes. So in terms of that, administrators can be effective and efficient in terms of administrative functions. So what would be the benefits of administrative automations? So una-una, time and resource saving. So AI-powered automation reduce manual effort, allowing administrators to allocate time and resources more effectively. So next one is improve efficiency. So streamlined administrative processes enhance efficiency, enabling administrators to focus on strategic initiatives and students supports. So not just on the management itself, kung ano yung gagawin ng mga administrators natin, but also on dealing with the concerns of the students, teachers, and stakeholders. So next one, enhance accuracy. So automation minimizes human errors in terms of administrative tasks, resulting in more accurate data and record. So meron tayong tinatawag na forecasting. Ayan. So 'di ba naririnig natin yung forecasting sa bagyo. Sa bagyo or sa weather. Ibig sabihin tinitignan pa lang natin kung ano yung paparating na bagyo, lilindol ba, and so on. So same thing on this one. So let's say for example, forecasting of the possible enrollees for the next school year or next academic year. So based on the given data, so AI can predict what would be the possible number of enrollees for the next academic school year. Or next one, eto pa, isang aspects. So based on that given enrollees, AI can also predict what would be the financial cost of the operations of the school in terms of electricity, water bills, and manual labor costs. Nakuha po ba? So, yan. So, enhance accuracy. So, it can save time, money, and everything. Ayan po. So, next one, predictive analytics for decision making. So, at the present times, leaders are need to be database or ibig sabihin nun, information based or simple as research based. Ibig sabihin, what are your decisions based on the given data, so based on the given phenomena or situations. So because of the AI, it can help you to have a innovative and creative decisions, and because of that, informed decisions, harnessing the power of predictive analytics. So AI and data analytics can assist school administrators in making data-driven decisions. So next one, predictive analytics identifies patterns. Yan. So let's say for example, students cases. So ano kaya yung magiging cases natin on the next school year based on this given data of the student. So based of the um, saan ba nanggaling yung mga bata, and then what would be the things we can resolve or being proactive as that manner. So, and potential issues related to students' performance. Yan. Kasi 'di ba at the start of the school year, kahit pa nga sa enrollment, parang nagba-background check na tayo. So, ibig sabihin nun, what is your full name, age, ano yung address mo. So, on that way, we can deal with the different age-related approach, and then what would be the chairs that are needed kasi 'di ba magkaiba ang upuan ng elementary sa high school at sa senior high school, as simple as that. So what would be the number of chairs needed for that specific enrollees, and so on. So we have, based on these 5 modes of analytics, we have the descriptive, the real time in terms of diagnostic, and predictive and prescriptive. So what would be the benefits of predictive analytics for decision making? So unang-una, proactive intervention. So yung sinasabi natin kanina. So masosolusyonan mo agad kung ano yung mga paparating na problema. So next one, resource optimization. So and then informed planning. So those are the benefits of predictive analytics for decision making through the use of AI. So we have some AIs that we can consult. So ito, medyo disturbing siya, pero it develops the company. So let's say for example, one company in China, specific game development company, implements an AI as their leader. And then, yung um, kanilang growth, and then kanilang development increases. Yeah, because of the AI, because of the accuracy of the data. So next one, smart campus and facility management. So dito na papasok yung, I don't know if familiar sila sa atin. So IoT, ibig sabihin nun, Internet of Things. So ito, effective ito in terms of intelligent infrastructures. On our given infrastructures, we can implement simple yet effective tools na magagamit natin. So, let's say for example, smart systems enable management, security surveillance, maintenance, and resource utilizations and optimization. So tulad na nabanggit natin kanina, the electricity cost, water cost, because that is all part of the operations of the school in terms of the perspective of the school administrations. Kasi kailangan din i-consider yan. So, uy, parang lumalaki yung water bill natin. Ano ba yung nangyayari doon? May leakage ba? Ano ba nangyayari doon? So, ano ba nangyayari or ano ba yung cause ng pag-spike nung electricity bill natin? So, ano ba yung nangyayari doon? And also, the different systems. Ayan. So, meron tayong automation in terms of earthquake system, humidity, air control. So, that can be done cost effectively, but also done by our students. So, yan yung isang focus natin in terms of robotics by next school year, no? So, yung mga in terms of automations of the different systems such as the weather alarm system, earthquake, fire, just as simple but effective. Yan, to become a smart campus. Yan. So what would be the benefits of a smart campus and facility management? So unang-una, enhance safety and security. So let's say for example, in terms of RFID na ID ng mga bata. So we can determine kung sino yung pumapasok at kung siya nga ba talaga yan. Ayan. Kasi di ba uso sa mga bata natin, no? And also kids na nagpapasa ng ID kasi hindi pinapapasok ng guard. And natitrace naman natin and then diretso kay Sir Paul. Ayan. But on these automations and smart campus, we can deal with the specific students. We can determine kung anong oras siya pumasok, kung anong oras siya lumabas, and kung sino yung mga outsiders na pumapasok at kung sino ba sila. Ayan, efficient resource utilization. So yun nga, yung sinasabi natin. In terms of the resources, not just on the electricity and water, but also the utilizations of the paper, markers, as simple as that. We can determine, we can forecast ilan yung gagamitin ng teachers for the specific school year. So we can allot a budget for that. Kasi di ba, we are allotting specific budgets on the papers, markers, ball pens, and everything on each teacher. So we can forecast that using AI. So yan. So we can allot the specific budget efficiently. So next one is the streamlined operations. So automation and data-driven insights streamline facility management processes and reducing manual effort and improving operational efficiency. So those are the things that deals with the school administrators. Transforming education ecosystem, the impact of AIs on school administrations. So these are the perspective of school administrators, coordinators in terms of AI. So mostly on management. Ayun po. So school administrators, do we have any questions on our AIs? Ayan, on how we will going to utilize effectively the AI. Ayan po. Ayan pa. So let's proceed on our next one. Artificial Intelligence Ethics. Ayan. So, ito yung very sensitive part ng topic natin on this one. So, AI is very powerful. Yan. AI is very capable of doing something. Something good, something better, something for the best, and also something for the worst. Ayan siya, no? So, what is the ethics in terms of artificial intelligence? So, and how we're going to deal with that if you are a student, if you are a teacher, if you are a parent, and also a school administrators. So, navigating the ethical landscape in educational artificial intelligence. So, unang-una, as a students, how you will going to deal with the privacy and data handling. So, di ba nga sabi natin kanina, for you to have a better learning experience, kailangan ng data galing sa'yo. Tama ba? So, ibig sabihin, ano yung nagiging routine mo, anong oras ka pumapasok. So, yun, those are simple data. And paano may handle yun at paano mo paprotektahan yung sarili mo doon as a students. Next one, algorithmic bias and fairness. Yan. So let's take example sa social media. So ano yung mga ini-scroll mo doon? Ano yung mga nababasa mo doon? And so on. How are you going to protect yourself as a student? Next one is digital well-being and online safety. So again, you as a student, how will you going to deal with the different good, bad, and everything in between, kung ano yung nakikita mo sa internet, kung ano yung ginagamit mo as AI. Ayan. And last one, plagiarisms and piracy. So how will you going to maintain yung integrity and dignity as a students na hindi ka gagawa ng mali? And you will going to utilize the AI as effectively and properly. Yeah, so those are the things in terms of ethics as a student. So yun lang naman siya na. So how we going to use the AI effectively, and ito yung mas pinaka-importante, properly. Okay? So as a students. Next one, as a teachers, professional autonomy and AI assistance. Oy, as a teachers, very good na may nag-i-exist na AI. So what if maging dependent ka na doon? So yan. So again, we have the term that we are using as a teachers. Technology never replaces a teacher. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka mapapalitan. Pero wag mo hayaan na magpapalit ka sa technology. Ayan. So you must maintain your professional, critical thinking skills and use the AI as effective as possible and also properly. Ayan. Next one is bias and equity in AI-powered assessments. So, as of this moment, meron na tayong ginagamit ng mga AI-powered tools that create assessments, instructions, and so on. Just to make sure that it still depends on the judgment of the teachers. Ayan, na, oy, align ba itong gagawin? And proper ba itong gagawin? Because AI is a collective data. Ibig sabihin, collective data of the internet of the entire world. Still, the hands of the students will always rely on your self. Ayan. And the next one is ethical use of student data. So let's say, for example, for you to have a personalized learning teaching experience and learning process and to become an effective teacher, di ba kailangan mo ng data ng students mo? Ibig sabihin, ano yung scores nila, ano yung background informations nila, and so on. On this one, how you will going to protect those data of your students. Yeah, so those are some of the ethical considerations as a teacher on using AI. And then next one, as a parents and stakeholders. So always inform consent and parental rights. Baka kasi mamaya, as a parents, bigay ka na ng bigay ng data or information ng anak mo on technology, on information on internet. Ayan. Baka kasi mamaya, ano yung pwede nilang gawin doon sa informations na yun. So let's say, for example, they can use those information for scamming, for phishing, and for the worst part, yan, for thief. Or yung sa nangyayari, sa nawawala yung pera ng parents nila kasi yung data and information ay galing sa anak nila. And then sila yung nagbibigay. So yan yung ethical considerations you need to protect as a parents. So that's why you need to be care of kung ano yung mga binibigyan ng data ng mga anak mo, ano yung mga pinapasokan nilang sites and everything. Ayan. And also, students, that is your role also to inform your parents kung ano yung nangyari or ano yung mga informations na naibibigay mo. Next one is digital literacy and parental guidance. So dito naman on some collective informations or we can have also a parental learning specialized learning experience wherein how you will going to support your child as a parent effectively also. So ano yung mga pwede mong gawing support sa students mo? So AI can suggest for you to become an effective support and foundation for your child. And the next one is the equity and access for our parents and stakeholders. So next one, for our school administrators. Ayan. So since school administrators deals with the management and operations of the schools. So if you are using an AI, you need to have an ethical use and surveillance and monitoring systems. Again, data and informations. So AI will, you will going to feed the AI with information about your schedules, timelines, activities, and so on. You need to be cautious of that data. And also, may mga ano na kasi ngayon, may mga intelligent tools na ngayon na that can monitors the activities of the employees. Sa other companies, ganun. So wherein, ano yung pinapasokan nila, ilang clicks yung ginawa nila sa mouse nila, ano yung mga sites na pinasokan nila. So yun. So very strict yung monitoring nila. So in terms of educational setups, in the perspective of the school administrators, that is also a concern if we are using that system. Pero simple as this one, as schedule. So yan. So we need still to have the permissions na kapag gagamit tayo ng AI tools that we are using for the scheduling and timeline in terms of monitoring systems and surveillance. Next one is the responsible AI adoption and decision making. So baka kasi mamaya as a school administrator, lahat ng decision mo nakarely na lang sa AI. So yon. So yes, effective siya, efficient siya, but still, you must maintain the dignity and integrity as a human and also as a school administrator. So, we are still human. Hindi tayo pwede magpa-replace sa technology. We must use the technology and artificial intelligence effectively and efficiently. Yeah. Next one is the transparency and accountability as a school administrators. So those are some of the ethical considerations in terms of students, teachers, parents, and school administrators. So ethics and education is the guiding the ethical integrations of the AI. So thank you so much for these presentations in terms of the different perspectives on how we will going to deal with the AI as a use, as a tools for our educational setups and for us to become an effective students, effective teachers, efficient school administrators, and a supporting founding parents. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Sir Lem, for that very informative talk. Actually, it provides, these are my insights during the talk of Sir Lem. So it provides a better understanding for students on how they can use the AI effectively, for them to grow and enhance their skills in these changing times. For our parents, for our stakeholders, yan, parents can benefit from AI through personalizing their assistants, parental monitoring, parental safety, and of course, be the learning support for their children. As a teacher, this is my personal insight. As a teacher, it gave me the idea on how to enhance our teaching methods and create a more interactive and memorable activities for our students. Also, for the school administrators, I believe they can look into automation in their end to improve efficiency, consistency, and allocate time to another task. And thank you very much, Sir Lem. We learned a lot, especially in identifying or retaining the ethics that we have to uplift as higher individuals than AI. Of course, we are more, of course, intelligent than them. Of course, by the way, we would like to remind our audience that you can still send in your questions via chat box or through the given or provided form that you can see in our chat box. So our speakers will be glad to answer it later during the Q&A. Thank you very much. And moving forward to the next speaker of the webinar, let me introduce Mr. Joshua Vidal. He is a graduate of Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Biological Science, and a licensed professional teacher. He earned CAR in Master of Arts in Education, specializing biology, and is currently pursuing Master of Arts in Education, major in Educational Management at the University of the City of Muntinlupa. Mr. Vidal is also a transdisciplinary research intern for the Atenea's Coastal Cities at Risk in the Philippines project. Mr. Vidal wrote and published a number of educational papers for both the teaching and learning processes. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Joshua Vidal.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. And can you hear me well? May I see reactions here. Ayan, thank you so much. And I'm seeing here now reactions now from our audience. Okay. Yes, I'm so happy that we actually we are 46 right now in the meeting, and I'm so happy with that now that everyone is very interested in joining and learning more about artificial intelligence. Okay, so earlier I'm so happy that Sir Lem was able, I mean, to present no some useful tool sa mga na late kanina no pagpasok. Sir Lem was able to present with us on how to create a lesson plan very easily. No, you just have to input the code of the curriculum guide and then put some specific objectives that you want to achieve by that specific subject matter or that topic. No, so it's just a snap and then in just a click no on the submit button, you will have your comprehensive and thorough lesson planning. And later on, we will be I will present with you how are we going to create this what we call the AI human driven output. No, and in science department we tag it as the osmotic effect. And later on we're going to know and dive more on that. Okay, so again, I'm Joshua Vidal. I'm so happy that I'm seeing here some of my classmates way back in college. So they're actually fresh from General Santos City right now. No, they are there and joining with us. And I'm also seeing here some of my classmates in the graduate school, and the rest are students and teachers from Unida Christian colleges. I'm also seeing here, now I would like to also acknowledge the presence of some of our FLTs, the functional leadership team. And I don't know if there's an SLT here, but again, welcome everybody. This is just a very smooth and I want this to be fluid discussion, okay? And I will be presenting you the general aspect of the artificial intelligence. Actually, just to share with you, I wasn't able to discuss, or I wasn't able to finish my paper about artificial intelligence in education. But I promise to all of you that once it is done, all of the emails who registered here will be having a special copy of the preprints of that study. Okay, so without further ado, let's move forward. Now, I know for the fact that a lot of us, or most of us here, hearing the term artificial intelligence. But what is artificial intelligence? No, in the general aspect, actually, artificial intelligence is actually the broader aspect of an intelligence, and it is the biggest umbrella of all intelligences. Okay, so mas malaki siya and mas may kakayahan siyang mag-act or mag-mimic as a human-like intelligence. Okay, but however, the good note there for the artificial intelligence so far nagre-require talaga siya ng human intelligence. Meron talaga siyang human intervention. Okay? So, on the second circle, we have here the machine learning. Now, the machine learning is the subset of AI. So magkaiba po sila, no? It's just under the umbrella of the artificial intelligence, no? So machine learning, as what Sir Lem mentioned earlier, it is actually getting the data, no, to improve the performance over time without being explicitly programmed. So meaning to say, you were able to detect what would be the future. As we are hearing right now, there's a term, the future thinking approach. No, so there's actually a machine for that you can use to technically predict the future, and machine learning can help you doing that. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm one of the committee who proposed the machine learning in the curriculum development of Unida Christian colleges, and that's what we call the UWAP development program. And I'll present that with you later on. And next we have the smaller one, the smaller one on the intelligences is what we call the deep learning. It is a specialized branch of machine learning that focuses on training artificial neural networks, no, simply like chatbots and etc. No, but that can still, as you can see here on the table, no, kung mapapansin din natin dito sa graph natin, pwede siyang umakyat, no, from deep learning to machine learning to artificial intelligence. The machine learning, the data from machine learning and deep learning can be used for making an artificial intelligence. Okay, so I hope that's clear, and I would like everybody to. This discussion is for students, teachers, and all of you here. No, so earlier kasi nakasubset siya, but here right now I want you to look at the bigger picture. Okay, what drives the artificial intelligence in education, and why do we need to know artificial intelligence? Now, I want you to look at as we've said earlier, the future thinking approach. So, why there's an artificial intelligence? Is this new to us? Is this something that people that's very naive, no, on bago ba to sa atin ang artificial intelligence? Actually, no. Now, according to according to the race between technology and education by Golden and Katz by 2010, no, they actually warn everybody between the race of digital evolution and industrial revolution towards technology and education. So hindi po siya bago sa atin, no? If I'm not mistaken, in the Philippines education, we are still in the industry 3.0. Hindi pa din tayo nakaka-move further. But as I've read of some articles, actually they are now in education 4.0, 5.0. Nandun na po sila. So technically, the governments must overhaul economic strategies and transform education to achieve inclusive and sustainable development for all, not just for the teacher, but as well as sa students, no? And education must adapt to changing work demands and strengths limitations of computers, including AI, in order to foster relevant skills and knowledge. So aminin man natin o hindi, sometimes we tend not to follow the trend. Diba? Sometimes we tend not to follow the trend, especially as teachers. Parang we tend to think that, ay naku, wag na yan kasi hindi ko naman kaya yan, no? And that thinking actually proved that if you're not a future thinking, if you did not subscribe to a future thinking approach and being an innovative teacher, you may have a struggle along the way. Or sometimes, no, I have known a lot of people that they quit teaching because they cannot dive with the trend in education after, and I mean during the pandemic. Now, some of them opt to quit because they can't they can't dance with the trend in education right now. So again, I would like to reiterate that digital education, this like AI or something, no, is not new to everybody, is not new to education. This has been communicated to all of us since 2010, no? Nabigyan pa siya. Imagine that if we were able to study, if we were able to have an in-depth approach of this article from Goldens and Katz, no, we're able to actually be prepared prior to the pandemic. No, so I hope, no, that instance was able to allow teachers, administrators, and students to basically adopt to this future thinking approach environment. No? And hindi lang teachers ang nag-quit during pandemic, even students. And not just the education sector, even the business sectors. They wasn't able to jump and dance with the trend. So meaning to say, teachers, students, and all the participants in here, trend is very important. It may kill or it may allow you to progress. Okay, so I hope that you are getting so far in our presentation. Now, what is the significant changes thus far we have in our world, or simply in education? No, malaki, sobrang laki. In the 20th century, ganito yung classroom setup usually na nakikita natin. ganyan na ganyan. Usually ang nakikita natin, the chalkboard, the teacher in front, the students, no, and then the chairs, or something like that. No, I provided you the picture here so that you can picture out it with me. So 20th century is technically the traditional one, the traditional approach, no, or maybe prior to 20th, like 19th century. That's how it looks like, no, ang approach or picture in when we say education. But here in the Philippines, mas ano pa dyan, no, mas tawag nito, mas hindi ganyan yung itsura. I would say mas nakakaawa pa yung itsura, no, kasi others are just learning under the banana, under the tree, something like that, no? And in the 21st century, ganito na po ang itsura na gusto nating i-achieve. Now, I want you to picture out, is your school or your company you're working or you belong with right now has this type of setup? May ganito bang setup? Or maybe kahit hindi ganyan, no? But has it transformed after the pandemic? Nag-transform ba? Since we know the term hybrid learning already, is our classroom also having the setup of a hybrid approach environment? If not, if your classroom is just the same as prior pandemic, meaning to say you haven't learned any lessons at all. We haven't learned any lessons at all. Okay? So, I hope you would be able to assess, no, na ganito, bago mag-pandemic, ganito yung itsura ng classroom ko. Yung pagbalik ba namin, nag-transform ba ito kahit hindi ganun kalaki yung transformation na ginawa? Or mas nag-worsen pa ang situation, no? And you don't need to answer that. It's just a question in your mind that were we able to adapt to the new learning environment? Our company was able to adapt to the changes and trends. Again, I want to warn everybody, if you cannot dance with a trend, there are two faces or there are two sides of the trend that you may be going. One is to fail and one is to progress. Okay? So again, mamimili po tayo doon, no? Wala pong gray portion yon. It's just one is to fail and the other one is to progress. Not succeed yet, no? You may just progress. Kasi pwede mo namang piliin itong trend na to, but you are still learning on the trend. You're still trying to go with the flow on the trend, but don't be stagnant. Try to look at, no, to our administrators who are present right now, the teachers, no? After this, you may echo this to your supervisors that there is this the trend in education right now, not just in education, in the whole world, the SDGs, no, is trying actually to uplift and trying to look for this and present this type of environment, the what we call industrial revolution or digital transformation. Now, again, I would like to reiterate, is there something transformation happen in your company or an environment where you belong with? So that is a caution to everybody. Okay, so before, no, in prior pandemic, these are some examples of differences that teachers and students may experience in the future technologies. This was published prior to pandemic, right? And some we tag it as a familiar technology capabilities and future technology capabilities. We have here the input, the processing, and the output. Yan yung tinry natin ditong tingnan as a future thinking approach. Before typing lang, no? Talagang typing talaga yung mga tao natin. Ngayon kasi we can use speaking as a robot, no, that can write out our thought, no, on behalf of us. Kaya nilang i-write up yan. Actually, one of the examples for that is the Google Docs. You can just open the microphone there and you can speak up, and actually you can transform your speaking into writing, no, or typing something like that. Those are just a simple illustrations that I can provide with you. Clicking and dragging, ngayon you can just even draw. At napapansin ko ngayon, no, mas nagiging, ang presentations natin ngayon, mas nagiging visual something siya. No? And the touching and gesturing, ngayon we are now moving into analyzing images and videos. In processing, we are displaying information and task, but now we are assisting students and teachers, sequencing learning activities, checking students' work, but now we are planning and adapting activities and revealing patterns in student work. And that is what we call the machine learning. The output. In our output before, we are used for text, graphics, multimedia, and dashboards. But now in the future technology capabilities, we can have a conversational approach. We can have annotating and highlighting, suggesting and recommending, and organizing and guiding in just one click away. No, mas naging ano yan sa atin, yung sharing of documents to another. Before, once we want to share a document, we need it to deliver on your table. Diba? But right now, doing this, actually the presentation, we are sharing other documents to the committee of this program. We are writing at the same time. We're commenting our paper, our presentation at the same time. We highlight other text on the paper at the same time. We can communicate through virtually at the same time. Imagine that if we were able to think of this, prior to the pandemic. I don't think that the education sector or each one of us would need to struggle ourselves, not to experience this kind of scarcity or struggle or hard works. No, so just imagine what else do we expect in the future after this? Because it took us a lot of years to imagine this type of environment. Na-imagine lang natin siya actually, kaya nga 'di ba, prior, as you can see on your Facebook, yung ating mga webinar ay puro yung mga terms reimagining. But you know what? We already have reimagined the future prior pandemic. But it's just that we are lacking of the application to that. We failed to apply this reimagination into our real world. We are just in the context or in the face of imagination, but we weren't able to deliver it in a real life application. Okay, it's very important. Now you can just imagine what would be the future looks like, but how we were able to make that imagination a reality. That's always the question. Okay, and what drives you for that is what we call the future thinking driven approach. Moving further. Now, gusto ko kayong bigyan ng malawakang picture, no? Kung sa Philippines ba, ano bang standing natin within terms of investment in artificial intelligence, no? Kasi I just don't want to quote our Philippine scientist, no? She actually mentions that the world today is not actually in the war of bullets. The world right now, the kind of world we have right now is actually in the digital or industrial revolution war. Meaning, hindi na siya technically yung traditional na bala to bala or something to like we witnessed before, no? Or like we've heard in the history. Hindi na ganon. We are actually facing right now a digitalized war or something like that, no? Industrialized war. And are we prepared for that? Are we prepared? Our school prepare for that? Sa sarili natin, prepare ba tayo? No? That's actually the question. Before we question the whole community, we should first question ourselves. Am I prepared for this? Okay, so if you're prepared enough, then that's the time for you to share that, no? So that your community will be able to be prepared. Okay, because one person affects another. Okay, that's actually the philosophy. It's the philosophy of community engagement, no? Your one person can affect another person, and this one person affects another, so on and so forth, until it communicates to the whole community. Now, in the investment, no, of AI companies per capita in selected markets, as you can see, actually talaga US is making a lot or putting a lot of money for artificial intelligence or digital era or digital environment, followed by Singapore. This is 2019. I just don't know what's the data right now, but Singapore, UK, China, Germany. But if I'm not mistaken, China is, I think, overtaking Singapore. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me with that, no, or you can look at that on the articles. But still, US is the first or leading the graph, no. And if we put that, wala ang Philippines, right? So wala siya. So if you put that into smaller context, dito naman sa Southeast Asia, the investment of AI companies well under $1 per capita in the Asian countries. Leading right now is Thailand, followed by Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Philippines. Philippines, kaya nakita nyo dyan, naka-asterisk siya, no? We are parang napakalayo talaga, no, sa per capita. Talagang hindi natin siya masyadong binigyang pansin, no, yung halata naman eh, di ba? So imagine mo yung capita na yan is very small in a lot of aspects, like for example, education, data processing in the Philippines, no, the Philippine processing company, ano pa ba, health, no, or disaster resilience. Napakadami nating departments dito, and napakaliit lang na investment natin for artificial intelligence, where in fact artificial intelligence, according to this article, if you want to read that further, it helps actually pushes further the GDP, the gross domestic product of a company. So imagine that. I don't know what keeps the government not to invest for artificial intelligence. Maybe we are not ready yet, but the question is when we become ready for this. It is happening not just in Southeast Asia but in the whole world. Even the biggest people or the biggest dogs, no, in the world, making a lot or putting a lot of money for artificial intelligence because they see that it's really giving something in the era that we have right now. It makes them ahead, 50 times ahead against competitors, no? So I don't know what keeps the Philippines not to tries to overtake this countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand. But still yung Thailand, maliit pa rin yun. Moving beyond 0.4, maliit pa yun compared to the whole per capita. No, maliit, sobrang liit niya, but at least they're making their best, no, to really uplift of the investment for artificial intelligence. You can just read that further to know more why they would like to invest for the artificial intelligence and where to place it. Okay, so moving further, actually, kagabi, tiningnan ko yung inyong responses, no, and I created a graph for that. Surprisingly, there are more than 30 people in the meeting who are knowledgeable about AI, and about 20 people in the meeting who are not knowledgeable enough about it, but also need to take note that among the participants in here right now, the group of students is significantly higher compared to teachers and others specified in the data. Meaning to say, actually, mas nadagdagan pa to as I'm seeing earlier the participants. Nakikita natin dito sa data na to na kailangan talagang pagtuunan ng pansin ang artificial intelligence, no? Not just for the students but for the teachers as well. So the data won't lie. It says here that hindi ganon, no, ka knowledgeable enough ang ating mga teachers, no, to navigate the artificial intelligence or the digital education. Okay, so this is not actually to compare, no. It's just we are just showing you that the teacher must be the center or the facilitator of learning. But how would you be able to do that if the teacher is not knowledgeable enough to navigate the artificial intelligences or other digital forms or tools in the curriculum? Okay, so I just forgot the article, but you may look at that further, no? Na bakit daw ang mga estudyante ngayon ay nawawalan ng gana, no? Nawawalan sila ng drive to actually have a conversation with their teachers. Not just conversation, but at the same time participation with the teachers. Here is the result, teachers. Every one of you here must listen to this result. According to that study, it is because the students cannot jive to the perceptions and level of knowledge of the teachers in relation to today's modernization. That's the result. Ulitin ko, at I will paraphrase that into my personal understanding. Ang mga estudyante nawawalan ng gana kapag ang kanilang teacher sa loob ng klase ay may napakaliit na number or knowledge in relation to artificial intelligences or other industrial digitalization tools that can be used inside the classroom. Okay? So dati kasi is just the chalk, yung mga visuals, yun lang yung ginagamit natin. But the world has transformed already. Come on, teachers, no? We need to uplift this. Age doesn't matter, no? As I'm seeing the demographics here, may mga tenure din tayo ng participants dito, but it's just the age. I believe that age is like a wine. It tastes better when it gets old, no? And I want you to embrace that. I want you to embrace the principle that when you become actually getting older, you must embrace the philosophy of professing what should be or proper inside the classroom. So again, I would like to reiterate, it sounds cliche, but again, teachers, keep it up, no? Be with the students as a facilitator for learning. I'm not saying that you need to know everything about AI. No, that's very impossible. I just want you to delve into the norm and the phases of these trends in artificial intelligence and technically learning with your student. Okay? So isa pa nga sa example sa article na yun ay they compare traditional learning and the other teacher doing something like presenting examples and videos through TikTok and something like that. And surprisingly, it significantly affects everything. The student and teacher learning processes, achievements, evaluation, and assessment, it affects everything. So why not? No, but hindi natin gamitin yun as a data that it's really, no, it is really, I'm not saying that you need to know everything about this because I myself, I don't know everything about AI. It's just that I want to grasp and I want to get every single tool that has something to do with the learning process in my students. No, yun lang naman yung kailangan natin eh. Moving further, it is also says here that evaluate educational technology based on both outcomes and the alignment of AI models with a shared vision for teaching and learning. So again, teacher, students, and other participants, I want you to look at this loop, no? Humans in the loop and within an educational system's perspective. Sa loob niyan is the center, the students, and the teachers. All of the tools is just within around it, no? Hindi pwedeng nasa sentro ang artificial intelligence. It should just be a tool in delivering our subject matter. I would like to reiterate that. Hindi ko or hindi namin sinasabi that artificial intelligence shall be the heart or the center of your curriculum. No, we don't believe in that perspective. We believe that the student and the teacher should be at the center of the curriculum, and these tools are just a tool in delivering the lessons to make it more effective and more enjoyable learning. Okay, so that's the point of the presentation. Now, who are the big dogs in the market right now? Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na you don't need to know every single tool we have in the market. But again, you need to know who are the big dogs in the market. So I know you've heard them sa mga reels, sa TikToks, no? Lumalabas ito sila. My favorites here are the Tom and the OpenAI. So far, this is actually very surprising tools na ginagamit ko no? Ako personally, ginagamit ko to because I have no rights here to present with you if I wasn't able to use these tools, no? But yes, surprisingly, these tools are really giving me goosebumps, no, in relation to educational teaching learning process. OpenAI and Tome, Bard, and Bing. No, ginagamit ko itong apat na to, but most of the time, not just most of the time, but I think talagang ginagamit ko dito ay yung OpenAI ChatGPT and the Tome, no? But there are catches kasi may mga catches itong mga digital tool na ito when in terms of how are you going to use it, no? Paano mo siya gagamitin as a tool? So later on, we're going to discuss that a little bit further. Now, sabi ko sa inyo, napakadami, no? I just give you some AI tools available. You can take a screenshot, but this will be given to you. The PowerPoint presentations will be given to you. So you can just click here the link, no, and look for a lot of AI tools. And also in the link, it was discussed there how these tools will be used in the classroom or you as a person. Or there are procedures there. So later on, we're just going to give it with you. Okay, so now, as I've said and mentioned earlier, I was actually starting making my paper about emerging technologies in education. I use the ChatGPT for conversational testing of ChatGPT, translating Visayan language into English language. So, andito ba ang ating mga English teachers? I hope you are here, no? Andito sila. For sure. Ayan. Can you give a thumbs up? Ayan, nandito sila, no? Actually, teachers, this is a ongoing discussion. I have friends who are taking their linguistic MA, no? And some of them are PhDs. We're discussing about this and they're surprised. They're surprised on how ChatGPT were able to do that, no? And they were also very surprised that they're actually taking over some of the linguists doing on behalf of the teachers or the researcher who would like to translate, transcribe text, no? And I try it, no? Tinry ko personally who are my Facebook friends here, no? I even posted this on Facebook because I was really surprised that ChatGPT can be used for linguistics and a lot more, no? So as a researcher, I told the ChatGPT that, AI, do you know how to speak Bisaya or Visaya? Yes, I can. Sabi ng AI, understand and respond in Bisaya. How can I assist you in Bisaya? Sabi ko, unsa na may estado sa atang ekonomiya karon sa Pilipinas? In English, what is the current status of our economy in the Philippines? I did not put that, hindi ko nilagay ang English na translation, what is the current. Just in the paper nilagay ko kasi, of course, there are multi-language reader in my paper. So, ang nilagay ko lang doon, technically, dinerecho ko na unsa na may estado sa ating ekonomiya karon sa Pilipinas. And the ChatGPT responded, sa kasagaran sa ekonomiya sa Pilipinas, nagpakita og kusog nga pag-uswag. And you can just read the translation to that, no, in this one. And you're seeing here in the talagang napakaganda ng binigay niya sa akin na yes, Bisaya power. So wait, there's more. I challenged the AI to translate it into English because we all know, no, as ng ating mga English teachers dito, alam natin that it is, we can say that the speaker is very good in language if he or she can be able to translate her or his mother tongue into English language, no? At mas maganda kasi pag ganun you're able to translate that into English from your mother tongue, no? I don't know they call that in linguist, no? But merong ganong study sa linguistics. And I challenged the AI to translate it into English because, as we all know, being able to translate one language to another, especially into your mother tongue, would make you a more effective communicator. I said, pwede mo ihubad or translate in English. Can you translate that into English in the ChatGPT prompt? Like, generally, the Philippine economy has shown strong progress in some sectors amidst the COVID-19 crisis. Data shows that the gross domestic product in the Philippines continued to increase. Like, talagang, I would say the term na loka ako. naloka kami some of in the conversation I have with my friends in English language, like sabi na, oh my God, that is amazing, no? Sometimes it is amazing to think, but sometimes it's also concerning to think, right? So the Philippines also experienced a high inflation. Sabi, oh, di ba? Binigyan niya pa ng diin yung kanyang translation. This chat exceeded expectations because it not only translated one language to another, but also provided an excellent answer with accurate thoughts of the Philippines' economic condition. Imagine that, no? Napakadaming mo pwede ngayon. I think magwa 1 year na. No, not 1 year. Half na, no, ng quarter ginagamit namin ang ChatGPT. Mas mas yung natutuhan namin sa ChatGPT prior, like December ata siya ni-release, no? Masyadong mababaw pa pala yun, but right now we are actually really doing some analysis in the ChatGPT, and wow, excellent, no? Excellent. You can even train it, no? Pwede mo siyang i-train so that you would be able to wag lang ma-delete sana, no? Wag lang ma-delete yung prompt na ginawa mo, but within that prompt, you can actually put some of the records there, and you can just come back later and then, hey, ChatGPT, can you do from this table to this table, add them together and make some synthesis for that, no? And voila, it can really give you some very comprehensive answers for that, no? So wag later mabibigay naman namin yung examples sa inyo. Now, dito ako mas na surprise, no? Sabi ko, okay, sige, kaya niya for linguistics, no? Kaya niya in language. How about for the teachers learning process, no? Paano niya kaya ito, or students, teachers and students learning process? I tried to get some human-made lesson planning. Nasa paper ko din ito, pero hindi pa kasi siya tapos. That's why I can't share you. I just snipe at some other of the presentations. So I got in the internet the human-made lesson planning. No? So this lesson plan was lifted in a public domain of stockdocu.com by Nicole Lorraine Bitan. If she's watching, no, I don't know her actually. But yes, thank you for allowing us to have this in a public domain. I get this one, no? Kung anumang klaseng lesson plan yan meron tayo sa school natin, sa inyong school, or sa inyong mga kanya-kanyang school, no? But here, I just try to look for the differences, no? The strengths and weaknesses. Kinuha ko, so my objective, no? As the same as usual. My content standard, performance standard, learning competency, so on and so forth. The content, the learning procedures, activity analysis, abstraction, and application. So students, ganyan ang mukha ng mga lesson plan ng teachers natin. So may assessment portion din. No, may agreement done if you want, may remarks if you wish. So okay siya. Excellent, no? Very good. Very good yung nasa loob ng lesson plan. It's hard to critic kasi of a lesson plan because lesson plan is actually depends on the teachers, no? Yung gumawa ng lesson plan, ano gusto niya mangyari sa kanyang teaching learning process. But here is the catch, no? I tried to have a conversation with the AI. Sabi ko, ano pa yung muka ng lesson plan kung ang AI naman ang gumawa? So actually, Sir Lem earlier presented how you can make a thorough lesson planning. Pero ang nakikita ko kasi, okay yon, goods na yon ha, yung pinakita ni Sir Lem kanina. But sabi ko, okay, what makes ChatGPT even better amongst these tools we have in the market? So the image are properly arranged and translated in a Word format here in my presentation. Pero kasi naiisip ko, yung ginawa kasi ng ibang AI when you ask them to make a lesson plan, you can just have a direct na siya, no, na result for you. Now I just try it to, can you make a comprehensive lesson plan for a teacher with more emphasis on the subject matter? Pwede ko siyang bigyan ng guide, ng procedure, at ng emphasis saan ang lesson plan magbibigay ng emphasis. Okay, that's what's the beauty. That's the beauty of the ChatGPT. You can even provide instructions. You can even provide, ito lately ko lang na-discover, you can even provide a sound to the ChatGPT. What I mean about sound, I know that English teachers can relate me to this. When you're writing kasi, you can also make sounds to the way you write a paper or or a sentence, no? Pwede kang mag-create ng sound within the writings, no? Or embedded in the writing. So here in the ChatGPT, you can do that pala, no? You can just give an instructions to the robot. And sabi ko, ang topic is the beginning of the universe and with an anticipated interaction. Gusto kong ma-interaction, ha? Of a grade 11 or grade 12 student. Yun yung sabi ko sa ChatGPT. That's my prompt. We call it the prompt. The AI, sabi niya, sure. Here is the lesson plan with more emphasis on the subject matter and anticipated interaction of the grades 11 and 12 students. That's the provided answer by the ChatGPT. Sabi ko, oh my God. The topic, it gives me the topic, the beginning of the universe, no? Objectives very precise. Materials that I needed to deliver the topic. The procedures, introduction, gives me even time. How much should I put in there? Because as I've said on the prompt, I want an interaction and I want an emphasis to this topic. Binigyan niya ako ng time. Ganito lang yung time ha, sa introduction. Direct instruction, guided practice, independent practice, closure, assessment, anticipated interaction. Binigyan niya din ako ng anticipated interaction between the students. Imagine that, no? Hold on, I lost my net. Okay, yan. So, sabi ko, so far ay napakaganda ng binibigay ng ChatGPT. Sabi ko, okay, sige, for example, ayan, I'm seeing here Ma'am Twinkle, so I'll give an example. For example, si Ma'am Twinkle ay meron na siyang lesson plan na ganito, no? Ayan, ngayon, ang problema, nawala ng internet ang campus. And she needs to transition into an online learning, no? But in other tool kasi, just like what our first speaker presented earlier, you cannot be so resilient in that aspect. Hindi ka ganun ka-resilient sa ganong aspeto. Kasi you need to be very specific on what code, what type of objective, and then it would prompt up, no? But in AI, surprisingly, I asked the AI. It doesn't end here. The researcher also asked the AI if it can transition the lesson into an online mode. The AI, if the lesson needs to transition to online learning, some modifications will need to be made to the original lesson plan. Here is a modified lesson plan that would work well in an online environment. Ayan. So, shout out no sa ating mga FLT and SLT and IT department. No? Ayan, so saving grace. So, yes, you can just even transition. No? Pwede mo nang i-transition. Kanina, sabi dito, no, there are tools here and some instructions that are solely for for a face-to-face learning. But here in the next presentation, you can see here that some of the instructions, materials, and other part of the lessons were changed or being changed. No? Sabi ko, I want to make sure that sabi ni AI, here are the specific changes that were made to the original lesson plan. The images above, ito kasi yung pinapresent ko kanina, in order to make it suitable for online learning. Number one, yung introduction daw, sabi niya, the teacher creates a pre-recorded video instead of delivering the instruction in person. Direct instruction, the teacher provides online video lectures and resources instead of delivering the instruction in person. Guided practice, the teacher creates an online quiz or activity using online interactive tools such as Google Forms, Quizlet, or providing in-person guided practice. See? Diba? So independent practice, the teacher assigns a scientific article or paper related to the topic and facilitates a discussion through an online forum or a chat tool instead of providing in-person independent practice. For the closure, the teacher creates a final online video instead of delivering the closure in person. Overall, the lesson plan was modified to make use of online learning tools and resources and to adapt to the asynchronous nature of online learning. Diba? So sabi ko, oh my God. So you can actually make some modifications there if you wish, no? You can also type there na, hey, ChatGPT, can you make it, instead of Quizlet, can you make it a monkey survey, something like that? It can prompt there anything you wish. It can just easily do that, no? So the paper that I present has strength and weakness of lesson plans, both human-made and AI-made. The researcher borrowed a rubric. I borrowed the rubric from the study library as a guide for weighing the performance of both AI-made and human-made lesson plan. Now, this is the catch, teacher. Look at this. Pumiram ako ng rubrics just to make sure that really it works. No? Nag-work ba talaga siya? Because I can't just depend on my own perspective. That's why I need a rubric and a guide for me to be able to say that this lesson plan is better than the other, or this lesson plan works well over the other. So as you can see here on the rubrics that I have lifted, no, and borrowed, we have the unacceptable, developing, proficient, and exemplary. We have objectives, assessment, instructional strategies, structured application, differentiation, materials, and writing conventions. Okay? So I have here, I made my personal template so that I would be able to know which is better over the other. Now, here are the criteria. Criteria po, again, ito po yan siya. Transfer ko dito. Objective 10, assessment 20, instructional 20, 20, 10, 10, 10, and overall 100. So I put in them all together, the human-made and AI-made. So in the objective, I can say that human-made has a proficient, no, napakagaling for objective 9. Ito yung nilift din natin kanina sa study library, no? Kay Tan, yan, 9. AI-made got 8, no? But very close number. Assessment, as we would say, human-made 19. AI made it an exemplary, exemplary, amazing, 20. Instructional strategies, 16. AI, 18. Structured application, 14. AI made 18, proficient. Differentiation, 6 for human. AI, 8. Materials, 7, developing. AI made 9, proficient. Writing conventions, 9 for human made. AI made 8. For human-made, it gives us the overall total of 77 over 100. For the AI-made, it gives us 89 over 100. Not too far, no? The data is not too far, but we would say that AI is really giving us something in our teaching and learning processes. Okay? But in my paper, actually, I took note that I examined, and I would like, no, clearly AI is a potential tool to be integrated in educational environments. But this study is just the tip of the iceberg, I would say, and precisely that the researcher's inquiry shall be further investigated, most especially how the knowledge being transferred to the students. Okay, good na tayo, may lesson plan na tayo. Ang tanong kasi dito, still, paano i-deliver ni Ma'am Jezel? Paano i-deliver ni Ma'am Twinkle? Ni Sir Lem? Yung teaching process. That's the question eh. Even though you have your perfect lesson plan, but still the question how it is being delivered. And can that be measured, Josh? Yes, that is the gap of my study. You can further that. That's the gap. Itong lesson plan na ginamit dito sa paper ko, you can use it and then apply that in a classroom setup and measure the assessment and evaluation and use the observational tool. Yung ating mga course dito, no? You can do that. You can have a collaboration and then use the rubric for the classroom assessment, no? And so on and so forth. Okay? So that's technically the whole. But then again, we need to take note that sabi natin dito, AI was able to get higher proficiency instructional strategies, structured application, differentiation in materials. On the same hand, AI was exemplary in terms of assessment. Moreover, take note on this. There are 2 areas where human excelled as well, which very important in lesson planning. The lesson plan objectives, napaka-importante. Maguho ang mundo, wag lang ang objectives, no? And writing conventions. These 2 parts of the paper or in the lesson planning are very critical variables. And likewise, we should not be too quick to miss the significance of lesson planning in clearly defining the objectives and meeting the coherency in all aspects of the subject matter. So, importante siya. So, dahil dito, nabigyan natin ang ating sarili na, okay, kapag gagawa ko ng lesson plan, dapat mixed. Pag gagawin ko sa AI, gagawa din ako, akong gagawa ng objective at ng conventions part ng lesson plan. And then emerge ko itong dalawa, tingnan natin kung hindi maging perfect yung lesson plan ko. That's the point. We are not actually picking who's the best. We are actually trying to emerge these tools so that we were able to champion the adversity. That's the point, no? We are not having this webinar. It's because we want to weigh something that's better over the other. No, that's not the point and objective of the webinar. The objective of this webinar is to know what else can we do and what something we can do to use these tools that we have right now. Okay? So now malapit na tayo. Academic honesty. Alam ko isa to sa mga hinihintay ng lahat, no? Itong mga susunod na mga slides na ipapakita ko, these are actually we're trying to patent this, no, in UCC because they are originals, no? Original yung mga some of the models na papakita natin dito. And the question here would be, is AI should be allowed in the classroom? Yan yung laging tanong natin, no? So, hey, hands up naman dyan, no? Tanong nyo din ba to sa sarili ninyo? Is AI should be allowed in the classroom? Actually, in my department, we're still talking about this, no? Maybe ngayong summer, isa to, hindi maybe, isa to sa mga mapag-uusapan, is AI should be allowed in the classroom. Kailangan ba natin siyang i-allow? Kasi I'm trying to figure out this question through articles, no? And assessing some other response and results of the researchers conducted, no, in a single environment. Kung gusto mong mawala yung higher plagiarism papers or something like that, you also minimize the presence of the artificial intelligence. Yan so far ang lumalabas sa articles, ha. Kung gusto mong hindi masyadong mataas yung academic honesty degree, no, yung for example cheating or yung mga ganun ba, yung mga breach of academic honesty. Kung gusto mo hindi tumaas yon, kailangan mo ding babaan yung presence ng artificial tools sa classroom. Do you get my point? I hope you're still with me. Na nagigets niyo pa rin ba ang point ko? And how are you going to do that? Yan yung tanong eh. That's the question. I've been attending a lot of webinars, still the same topic, no, artificial intelligence, but they tend not to delve further in academic honesty. Dahil I'm also looking for the literatures and some other scholarly papers, no, that would tell me what should be the ethics and the guidance. Kanina kasi Sir Lem nagbigay but in general aspect, ang binigay ni Sir Lem. Ito, may ganyan guidance of the teacher, parents, something like that, in a general aspect. But when we say policy kasi, it should be cleared, no? So ano ba talaga? I cannot promise if I would give you a clear instruction to that, but here are some of my recommendations to all of us. I was looking for the correct term so that I would not be tagged as pro AI or something on the other hand, no? But I would tag it as AI osmotic effect. In the context of education, the osmotic effect is metaphorically used to illustrate a desirable quality of AI tools. So sa biology kasi, yung movement ng molecules through membrane until a balance, yung parang may hati sa gitna, yung water, no, and other molecules, yung sa gitna, sa kanila na nag-maintain ng where the molecules pass through from one place to another is what we call the membrane. Until a balanced state is reached is described as the osmotic effect. So, yung membrane parang gate siya, no? Where these molecules like water, salt, etc. would be able to pass through. Hindi like yung mga bigger molecules like salt or sugar, they cannot pass through there. One of the examples that can pass through would be the water because it's a smaller particle, no, and that can pass through from the membrane. So my point lang dito, kaya ko siya ginamit, bakit osmotic? Kasi kailangan ng definition of term. Ginamit ko yung osmotic effect because it gives me the prompt in my brain that osmotic and AI osmotic effect can be used interchangeably to maintain the balance in a classroom. Okay, AI should seamlessly integrate into education without causing any disruptions, meaning to say AI tools designed for students and teachers should assist them. Dapat ina-assist lang tayo ng AI tools and improves, not replace them. Dapat hindi ma-replace, no, ng mga tools na ito ang teacher inside the classroom. And a balanced environment where AI improves education while preserving human contributions in the desired outcome. That's the point. That's what we call the AI osmotic effect. Now, how are we going to do that? I'll give you the demographic, or the picture, the illustration, so that you would be able to imagine it. Paano ko kaya siya gawin sa classroom ko, no? So it has to be both sides to maintain the equilibrium, the balanced environment where AR improves education while preserving human contributions is desired outcome. Again, on the left side, no, we are seeing here the AI tool and the human intervention. Okay, yung membrane sa gitna, that is AI human intervention. Again, please don't be just dependent on AI, no? Wag lang maging dependent sa AI lang. At kung human lang din yung intervention na yan, ay hindi din pwede. Kasi there are a lot of tools that can help you technically detect who are plagiarized, what are plagiarized, and what are written by robots, no? So it has to be AI human intervention. So these two should swim together, okay, to pass through to the next, which is on the right side, we are trying to get the results of an AI human driven. That's the point, huh? We are trying to get a result of an AI human driven. So sundan nyo po ito, ang concept na ito, na makikita mo na yung lesson ko ba ay masyado bang prompt lahat? Ang lesson plan ko ba ay prompt ba lahat ng robots? Or baka masyado naman ding human written, no? Baka tinatanggal ko din yung aspect that can artificial intelligence would be able to intersect, no, some good idea so that it would give more concept. It would highlight better in my topic. So nakita naman kanina, if it's mixed, no, mas magbibigay siya ng maganda talagang output sa atin. So this AI osmotic effect technically telling us that it should be an AI human driven, not AI driven, not human driven alone, but AI human driven results. Are we clear with that? No? I hope we are clear with that. Now, how to do that? No? Paano natin gagawin yan to be AI human driven output? These are the tools that you can use inside your classroom. Take note on this, eyes on the screen, no? The tools to minimize the AI human driven output. Here it is. The input, we can use the chat GPT and the Quillbot, no? Pwede natin gamitin yan. Sa workshop later, tuturuan namin kayo on how it would become more AI human driven, okay? And in the process, dito mas critical yung proseso, no? Calling and the attention of the English and Research Department, no? This is very useful. In the process, you can use the zero GPT, or you can also use the GPT-0, or sometimes turn it in. Pero I'm trying now, I'm not done yet in my analysis. I'm trying to get the data of among of these three big dogs, no, as the processing tool to detect AI and plagiarize output. So ngayon, so far, I'm not saying that zero GPT lang, GPT-0, or turn it in lang. You can use these three, okay, in your comfortable moment, no, kung saan nyo siya gagamitin. Now, the output should be AI human driven. Yun yung output natin. Pero this is the catch kasi, teacher. Hindi ko siya ma-explain dito mismo sa presentation na to, but later in the afternoon, there are other instances that these tools in the process area cannot detect AI made. But there is this technique that I want you to discover in the workshop session in the afternoon. I want you to discover that because I am looking for articles that would definitely tell me something about that, but nothing, no? I am seeing nothing in the articles so far, in scholarly work so far, how not to be detected and how to actually sound detected by this artificial intelligence, okay? So that sounds interesting, right? But later on in the workshop, we will teach you, we will not teach you, but we will help you discover the strengths and the weaknesses and other technical aspects that the AI will be able to be used and how it become powerful in having an output of an AI human driven. Okay, so Mamaya po, I'm just giving you a glimpse. You will be divided into 2 groups, no? Pero strata, but may stratum pa. Actually, you will be divided as a teacher and as a student, and then by that, you will be grouped into different activities. How you will be able to use ChatGPT or the input. How are you going to put an input? And input would be the students, and process would be the teachers, and we will be the one to look for the output. Okay? And later then po, just a glimpse, that's why we will giving you we gave you actually the classroom code. The lahat ng materials will be uploaded there, and we will also try to make some guidelines on this. Depends on what or how you're going to discover some of the things later on. Okay? So meron lang akong isang i-share din sa inyo na article. This is actually from the use of AI detection tools in the assessment of students' work 2023 by Dr. Sarah Elaine Iaton. No? Ito ay talagang napaka malaking usapin ang AI sa atin ngayon, no? Hindi ngayon nga lang pero actually matagal na, no? But these are the actions and other concerns that you would like to us to know, no? Sabi niya kasi that I am not a fan of using a detection tools to try to identify text generated by artificial intelligence apps in student work. Sabi niya, hindi daw siya fan ng paggamit ng mga tools. But if you're going to use them, here are some of the guidelines to do so ethically and transparently. Hold on, I can see my text. Covert or deceptive use of any kind of detection tools is unethical to assessing students' work with integrity. If we expect students to act with integrity, then you, as educators, must model ethical behavior themselves. Ang point dito, when I'm reading the paper of Dr. Sarah, is that bakit mo i-detect ang paper ng student without having a policy on that? What would be the premise of checking the paper? What is the process when you detect? Would you call the attention of the students, and then what? What's next? No? Yan yung sinasabi sa paper na to. Na kung gusto nating maging ethical, we should be ethical first. So that's why, as much as we would like to put this into institutionalized, no, yung detection, kahit alam na namin, we are still not entitled to do that in our classrooms. It's because it should start within the institution. And one of the solutions gave by Dr. Sarah is, what is the policy? What is the departmental check? What is the course syllabus? And how are you going to talk to the students if they will being caught on the act or caught their paper plagiarized or detected something by an AI written or something? Okay, so we are still not clear about that. And later in the workshop, that's the concept that we would like to have an output later on. Okay, so what are the application and future in divorce? No, so far in our institution, you can see it more here. Last 2020, if I'm not mistaken, I was able to use the chatbot. No, it's a simple prompting messaging, a robot, using robot to address some of the recurring questions of the students, like, sir, ano pong assignment? Sir, ano pong na-absent po kanina? Ano po yung gagawin? So chatbot is very useful for that. If you want to move further on that, you can just check here the link later on. And as all of what we have discussing since the first speaker earlier, here is so far we are seeing the future in the aspect of education. No? Ito yung nakikita namin so far. I know I have presented this already if SLTs and SLTs are here. No? The learner of the future, as you can see there on the presentation, ito yung nakikita namin. I want to share this. I want to include this because there are some teachers are leaders also from different schools. No? Kung nanonood kayo dito, you can use this as well. No? This is the new proposed curriculum. for the 21st century learners, as I have put it earlier, na yung curriculum mapping natin, ilagay na natin yung tool, yung AI sa curriculum. But as you can see there, maliit lang yung tool eh. Ikakabit lang natin siya sa curriculum, and then objectives, level of assessment, and then intervention. How are these tools actually interacts by objectives, level of assessment, and intervention. And then we're moving to incremental change. Mararamdaman natin yan na medyo may masakit sa atin, no, sa teachers and lahat no, medyo incremental siya eh. Hindi madali yung changes na to. And then after that, there are some adjustments. Itong AI na to medyo hindi siya gumana sa end namin. And then after that, we could have some changes, and then we could have a success for that, no? And how are we going to do this? Ito, paano ba natin yan gagamitin? We have this, what we call the UAP, the Bridging Enhanced Education Using Academic Observatory Project. So we have here input of the students, the process, and the output. I would not discuss that any further, but actually you can search that paper in the internet. Andun po yan do. Andun po yan siya. So it's just that I want you to get a picture. So as you can see here, no, gumamit, sir, meron ba yung artificial intelligence? Yes, meron po. Itong UAP, yung Academic Observatory Project, as you can see in the process, we are going to use a machine learning. Okay? So we can detect, among here, we have 40 participants here. Sino kaya dito sa mga estudyante ko ngayon ang hindi na magpapatuloy for the next school year? Sino kaya dito ang posibleng by the 4th or 3rd quarter will be dropping my class and would probably not so motivated to be in my class? Is that possible, Sir Josh? Yes, that's possible using the machine learning process. Okay, so yes, I hope everybody would able to enjoy the presentations. No, I know that there's a lot in there, but later on in the workshop, we will be able to make a lot more of discoveries about artificial intelligence. No, so nagang salamat for those participants who are actually in Visayas and Mindanao. Thank you for coming. Maraming salamat for those who are in Luzon area. And thank you for if we have international participants here. No? Once again, I'm Joshua Vidal, and I'm so happy. I cannot express my gratitude, no, for being all of you here. No? We are 40, so medyo maliit yung data natin, no, compared to the whole educators in the Philippines. But yes, maybe you will be part of the team with us, not to cascade and disseminate the information of using or tooling artificial intelligences in education. I hope that you've learned something, and please, we're not yet done, and I'll get back the floor to our MC this morning. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sir Josh, for that very informative presentation. Indeed, artificial intelligence will keep progressing and the trends will keep on changing. As educators, we should keep progressing as well and learn to enhance the learning process that we provide for our students to keep them equipped and challenged. Now, before we formally proceed to the question and answer portion, which is I know most of you are really waiting for this, and let us first have our panel of Reactor this morning. And she is a faculty member of the Science Department teaching biology in grade 11 STEM. She graduated cum laude at the Cavite State University with a degree in BSED, Biology. Now, she is a member of the Arbol Magazine's editor and website associate of the Science Department. She also co-authored an article in the field of curriculum development and leadership. Help me welcome Miss Mary Joy Redulla.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Ms. Twinkle. Ayan. Good morning, everyone, to our participants no, and online on this online webinar. Ayan. So please bear with me no, for this presentation. So may I share my slides? So this will be very short down no, since this is just a reaction of our webinar this morning. Okay, so let me share this tab. with you. Okay. Ayan, no. So before I start, no, let me thank our keynote speakers for this morning. Um, to Sir Lem, no, in highlighting the perspectives of the students, teachers, as well as our parents and stakeholders and the school administrators, no, in integrating the AI or the artificial intelligence tools, no, in the classroom or in education, as well as emphasizing the ethical the ethics, no, in using artificial intelligence, and also to our science coordinator, Mr. Joshua Vidal, in giving us a bigger point of view in futures thinking, as well as how we can really utilize artificial intelligence in our classroom as teachers and also as students. Okay, and also, yeah. So with that, no, with the presentation of our keynote speakers earlier, I have this point, no, and let me present this one. Okay, so I just have four actually. Okay, so first one is AI has the potential to significantly improve student learning, boost teacher productivity, and streamline educational processes. No, as we see earlier, with the presentation or the talk of our keynote speakers, binigyan talaga nila tayo ng idea that AI or this artificial intelligence can be used in our classroom, and can be used by our students in making their works or their requirements or submissions, to their teachers much better. Okay, so they can evaluate that and have ano ba, mas puwede silang mas makagawa ng mas magandang output, na ipapasa nila sa kanilang mga teachers. Okay, and AI is very promising, a very promising tool that we can include in the teaching and learning process. Okay, I remember, a dilemma from a seminar or training that I have attended before. There is this question or there is this dilemma that they don't want to include AI inside the teaching learning process because they are they don't want to have cheating as well as plagiarism inside the classroom. Okay? Parang yung sinabi ni Sir Josh earlier, no? Pero itong mga problema kasi na to, no? The cheating as well as the plagiarism does not arise, in the advent of artificial intelligence. Okay? So, matagal nang meron na ganito, sa loob ng isang classroom setup. And we are thinking of ways on how we're going to prevent this kind of problems inside the classroom. And there are studies that prove that hindi siya magiging hinder or hindrance to the critical thinking skills development of the students. Hindi siya magiging tool para mas mag-lean into mag-plagiarize lang o kaya mag-cheat yung mga students, but it can improve, sabi ng mga studies, some of the studies now said that it can improve the critical thinking of the students. But still, there are still studies that have the counterpart of it. Okay, it's still I agree with Sir Josh that nasa debate pa rin siya. Wala pa siyang totoong sagot, if this AI can really solve this dilemma. But then again, I want to point this first realization of this webinar that AI is very promising and it has a potential to improve the student learning, to boost our productivity as teachers, yung paggamit ng AI to make lesson plans better, and it always, ang catch kasi nun, tama naman, na ang catch is it will always depends on us on how we're going to implement or do the lesson plan inside the classroom. Nasa atin pa rin yun, okay, as teachers. And it can streamline educational processes as we go or delve in the use of artificial intelligence inside our classroom. Okay. The second point is second point is everyone in the education sector, the teachers, the students, parents, and stakeholders, as well as the school administrators, must work hand in hand to successfully utilize AI in the education system. Diba? Para yung piece of puzzle, right? If hindi tayo mag-work o hindi tayo sasama no sa um, sa idea ng paggamit ng AI in the education system, this will not work. Hindi mabubuo no yung idea na gusto sana nating maibigay no sa ating mga students, especially sa mga students natin no. And hindi mabubuo yung iniisip nating idea about a successful education system. Huwag na tayong lumayo, dito na lang sa Philippines, right? And yeah, so we must work hand in hand to successfully utilize all these artificial intelligences. So napakadami nito, and we have to evaluate what are the artificial intelligence that we can use or really utilize inside the classroom. And I guess all of this education, all of these people inside the education sector has their own perspective and point of view of the things or the intelligences that we can really utilize inside the classroom. Ayan. And then next is, the next one is, I realized that the use of AI or artificial intelligences is inevitable and inclusive. Inevitable because we cannot deny the fact that we are using it medyo late nga lang dito sa Philippines actually, but they are sa ibang bansa ginagamit na talaga nila to ngayon lang naging mas popular yung paggamit ng AI kasi mas naging maingay siya in social medias, in ano ba sa mga educational institutions Ayan. And it is inclusive, hindi lang ito para sa mga teachers na may alam sa paggamit ng computer, hindi lang siya para doon sa mga aware kung paano mag-deal with technologies and all, hindi lang para sa mga science teachers it is inclusive for everyone pwede itong gamitin ng mga English teachers kagaya ng presentation kanina translating into different languages using ChatGPT, and that is a good thing and pwede rin siya sa ibang subjects, mathematics, PE, all health and all so ang magiging challenge lang sa atin as teachers is that how we're going to use this AI effectively inside the classroom, okay, inside our lessons at paano natin siya i-deliver ng maayos kapag nagtuturo na tayo, okay? So wala siyang in-exclude na kahit na sino, teacher man, student, we can use that but again there are premises of course and para maiwasan natin yung over dependency on using artificial intelligence, okay? And the next one we have here, I think this will be the last one. Teachers are irreplaceable, I must say. The teachers are irreplaceable. We dapat hindi tayo we have I mean parang do not let this AI defy your role as a teacher so itong mga AI na to hindi natin dapat siya i-allow to replace us inside the classroom and the over dependency of using our artificial intelligences inside the classroom. So AI must be used as tools or companion in teaching and learning process. So tools lang dapat siya I want to highlight that kasi mawawala yung I mean yung communication, for example, the communication inside the classroom between teachers and the students. If we are going to be over dependent in using AI, mawawala yung aspect na yon. At alam natin as educators that communication the values, the morals that we, uh, I mean, give to our students, no, mahalaga yon sa kanilang education process. At kapag nawala yon, no, magkakaroon ng gap ng problem, mas malaking problem. Okay? At yung over dependency to AI will create no another dilemma in the future. Okay, so it is crucial, no, or it is essential for us, no, to acknowledge the drawbacks of AI, also in including the potential loss of human communications, what I've said earlier, and the irreplaceable value of compassion and emotion in teaching. Okay, so I can say no that teachers are irreplaceable because AI cannot, you know, give values, cannot communicate in a humanly manner, you know, to our students. Okay, educators should carefully consider all the aspects of AI and weigh the benefits against the potential drawbacks. And ultimately, informed decisions should be made based on the specific needs and circumstances of each classroom and its students. Okay, so we have to maintain, though we are going to use this AI as tools, no, or companion in the teaching learning process. We have to maintain the balance, no, between AI driven solutions and compassionate guidance and emotional support, no, that the teachers provide. Okay, so moreover po, it is necessary to consider the potential limitations and challenges of AI. So teachers are irreplaceable when it comes to the guidance, the compassion, the morals that we are giving our students. But then again, if the teachers or the educators will be complacent, no, in improving themselves professionally or yeah, professionally, siguro magiging ano siya, no, magiging problem din siya at hindi siya maganda no, para sa isang educator, sa isang teacher. Okay? And I think that's the catch, no, that we have to improve ourselves also, as what Miss Twinkle said earlier. Okay? We have to be advanced also when it comes to using artificial intelligences. And with advancing, no, with using artificial intelligence, hindi natin dapat iwanan yung mga bata, no, sa iiwanan natin sila in terms of hindi natin ituturo kung paano gumamit ng artificial intelligence, because in the future, no, these students will go on the field, magagamit nila itong knowledge, no, na makukuha nila sa atin when it comes to artificial intelligences. And as educators or teachers, we promise, no, that we have to make or create students, no, that are just competitive when it comes to you know, other aspects, but also we have to create, you know, students that are or that can go on the field battle, no, and they are armed, no, with this kind of tools, no, para at least they can survive, no. Kasi iba yung setting natin sa classroom at iba yung setting natin sa labas. Kung i-deprive natin sila ng ideas of using this kind of intelligences, then we'll just let them die in the battle in real life, no. So yun, iwasan natin yun at embrace natin, no, yung paggamit ng artificial intelligences. So before I end, no, let me leave you this quotation from I'm sorry, hindi ko mabasa yung from a professor, no, in New York University. So nakalito is, our intelligence is what makes us human, and AI is an extension of that quality. Okay, so again, that's all, no. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much, Ms. Redulla, for those really keynotes, especially for sharing that quotation. Yan. It helps us to really ponder on everything discussed this morning. So thank you for those notes, Ms. Redulla. Once again, thank you to all our speakers. Moving on to the Q&A or open forum. So if you still have questions, to ask, please continue to give it to us through the form or through the chat box. Okay, so I'm pretty sure our speakers are very much ready. Ayan. So can we start, speakers? Sir Josh, Sir Lem. I know they're very ready to answer your questions. Again, if you do have other questions, please keep it coming, or even a follow-up questions. Okay, I have here first question to be addressed to that is addressed to Mr. Vidal and Mr. Ramos. First one, with the increasing popularity of generative AI, how do you think teachers can combat academic dishonesty and retain the academic integrity of their students' output? Anyone?
Okay. So Sir Lem can give further answer to this, no? But it's hard, as I've said earlier, that it's hard to say that that's the correct ethics, that's the correct guide. It's up to the teacher what should be the premise, I would say. Mas gusto ko kasi tawaging premise kasi depende siya sa teacher. For example, in a research environment, no, like for example sa research department or English department, if they will be asking the students to create a research capstone or an essay or something like that, we are not just giving it sa estudyante na para lang gumawa. Actually, there's a purpose why they are doing that or why we would like that them to do, because we want to see how in depth the students' knowledge in relation to the topic, and we want also to know who are among the students that are very creative, sinong napaka-creative, magaling talaga sa writing, no? Those are the some purposes, no, that we would like to measure and to know. So, how do we combat those generative AIs, no? And inside our classroom, I don't have an exact answer to that, no. The one thing that I would say that use the AI osmotic effect. That would be the measure, and that would be the key for the teachers so far, ha, kasi wala naman talaga no, na exact guidelines on how are you to do, because some other journals, if I don't know if you're familiar, that some other journals, they even accept other plagiarized paper, but there's a percentage, like for example, it should not exceed into 5% or something like that, no? Because there's no such thing as original in the world, no. And everything comes with sharing one idea to another and then multiply it and then comes back it again, no, and then create the same thought. So I won't say that there's an exact tool to maintain the academic integrity, because even without AI, integrity in academic has been questioned since then, no? Tinatanong na yan, okay? But again, I would like just to say that AI is not new. Hindi ito bago for a long time. It is just that we don't have enough knowledge on how to facilitate this learning. No? Ang cute naman ng cat ni Ma'am Twinkle. I'm a cat lover, by the way. So, yeah, again, to answer that question, I don't know if I answer it directly, but I think, and I would say that follow the AI osmotic effect, because we want it to be, hindi natin maiiwasan, no? How would you know that your students really made it? And how would you be able to know, to detect that it's entirely a robot written? So for you to do that, just follow the AI osmotic effect so that you would come up to a safe place that the output of the students is probably AI and human driven result. Okay, so that's on my end.
Thank you, Sir Josh. And my apologies for my cat. And how about Sir Lem?
May apologies earlier. There is a students that inquire on the faculty. So for my answer with that, with the increasing popularity of generative AI, so how do you think teachers can combat academic dishonesty and retain academic integrity of their students' output? Same thing with the concepts of osmotic effect of Sir Joshua. So we have here the AI driven and human driven. So it must be always compensate, or it must be always jive with each other. So wherein you can use the AI as a guide on how you will going to conduct the process, but the actual output must be on the students itself. So as a teacher on that part, how will you going to combat that? So of course, as he said on this question, so content detector or AI detector, same thing with that concept. So we can use those tools, of course, to combat the AI generated answers, text, or outputs. So we can use technology to combat technology itself, because as humans can comprehend that as good, but we know the capacity of the students. But as a teacher, we know the students itself on how they behave, how they create things, and how do they write text, or how do they write articles, and so on. So we have the teachers, the teachers can know the students fully. If their outputs are generated, if that output is sincere from their heart, that they do, that they did that output. So it must be two. So uh, we can use technology and we can use our heart for that matter.
Thank you, Sir Lem. Still addressed to the both of you. Says here, do you think utilizing AI in education can limit the student's ability to develop critical thinking and independent problem solving skills?
Should I start first or no? Okay. Um, Using AI, the question no tama ay if the students use AI, would we think na malilimit yung critical thinking ng bata? Personally, I would say no. I would say no. It's because, as I've said and mentioned earlier, we've been using AI since then, and it's really helpful in relation to critical thinking. As you can see in the lesson plan, no, doon sa area ng lesson plan kanina, even gets higher points the way the AI allows the teacher to deliver the topic in a written form doon sa lesson plan. So for me, since I'm using the chat GPT, it depends on the prompt. Na depende din siya sa prompt ng estudyante. Kung napakatamad ng tanong ng estudyante, technically tamad din yung sasagot na robot. Tamad din yung sagot niya sa iyo. And that would be very that is detectable on my end ha, nadidetect ko na ano yung klaseng gawa ng estudyante. It's because sometimes they just stick to the definition of the robots and that they copy it and then they quillbot it or whatever tool they use it to paraphrase or to rewords those, and then they put it in all together. And still, you as a teacher, you would know that how this paper would sound. Again, uulitin ko to the linguistics and English teachers here, the form of writing has a form of sound. And you as a teacher, you can technically know that this work is telling me something that is not coming from a real person. And we're not saying that that's bad according to my presentation. Again, we're just trying to make sure that the paper is AI human driven. Okay? So ulitin ko po to be direct, we are good with using artificial intelligence or the chat GPT, but it's just that the way how we prompt it and the way how we ask the AI, it doesn't mean that you ask it, for example, what is osmosis, and then you write there, you tell there the what is osmosis, and then you copy it, the answer, you copied it from the response of the robot. And you as a teacher, that would be a signal that no, you just literally define it, no? Now the question is, let's go back to the question: are we now getting the chance for the students to think critically? No, exactly no, because copying it from the response of the robot or the chat GPT is like just as well copying it in the textbook. Just copy it from the textbook, right? So for you to be able to make it more scholarly, you read one book, one more book, another book, and then you paraphrase this all together and create one definition. That is scholarly and that is critical thinking, right? Because you read all articles and then you create your own words. The same thing in the generative AI or the chat GPT. You doesn't just put in there, prompt there that what is osmosis. No, you don't do that. What you should do is you ask ChatGPT, why is it said to be osmosis? Bakit ganyan ang definition? What are other examples? And then once you've read it all together, kung hindi mo masyadong naintindihan, pwede mo utusan si ChatGPT. Can you explain that in a sense that I'm the reader of a kind like I'm a grade 2 or elementary reader, so that it would allow you to get and absorb the definition, and that by that way once you absorb the definition, you will be able to write it in your own words, right? And it's if you write it in your own words, pwede mo siyang, you can look for the grammarly so that you would allow the students to correct his or her sentences if it's grammatically correct or not, no? So I don't think personally, yun nga ang sinasabi ko, we need to have more trainings in artificial intelligence because what we are hearing and what we are practicing right now is just the tip of the iceberg. So technically, to answer the question, no, we are not allowing the students to be dependent on the chat GPT, and we would sounds na hindi natin sila or mawawala yung critical thinking ability nila. No, that's not true. So that's, I think, my answer to the question.
Thank you, Sir Josh. Sir Lem?
Let me that answer in the perspective of the students. Kunyari, student ako, mga grade 8 ka nun, no? Sir, ayaw pa din! Ayan. So, those are the response that I am receiving from my students. Sir, ayaw pa rin gumana. Ayan. Since I am handling robotics, I let them use Arduino Kit. So, Arduino Kit is currently utilized and study in college level. Ayan. So, but I let them use that. And then, syempre, meron tayong robotics, may hardware tayo. So, to be able to work on that, you need to have a code. So, the code of Arduino is in the presence in the language of the C++. So, C++ usually, syempre, tinuturo din siya sa college. But the fundamentals of programming is, naturo naman sa, sa grade 8 and junior high school. But in the applications of AI, so ang gagawin natin, ang ginagawa kasi ng grade 8 and grade 10 is, they need to have a sets of pseudocode. So if you are familiar with the pseudocode, this is the detailed instruction on how the program will work on a robot. So ngayon, kapag may kulang ka dun sa pseudocode ninyo or may mali dun sa pseudocode or at least one error or hindi tama, same thing. Kung ano yung input mo or ibigay mo kay AI, yun din yung magiging response sa'yo. So it means that you need to have still a critical thinking on how you will going to how will you going to give the specific instructions on the AI for you to have a specific code that you can receive and for you to work out. Ayan. So even though na may AI na, the answer for that question is the same still. No, the students cannot be still dependent on that. On my observation with my students, their critical thinking and ability is increasing. See, increasing siya, hindi nagiging dependent. Yes, they are dependent with the tools, but on how they are using the tools is they let them grow, develop, and learn effectively and efficiently. So on that level pa lang, so natututunan na nila si Arduino together with the presence of AI with the acknowledgement of AI. So bakit pa ba natin itatago sa kanila yon? No, that is already the trend. So let's put that in the classroom and teach them to on how to use that properly. So as of this moment, yun, di pa rin nila napapagana. But they are still keep on trying to work on that robot. May gumagana sa kanila kasi proper yung binigyan nilang sets of instructions on how the robot will work. See? So dependency on the tools, yes, but hindi sila nagiging tamad. It increases their ability to think, to solve problems, and to be more creative. So that's my answer for that question.
Thank you, Sir Lem and Sir Josh. Ayan, still addressed to the both of you. Yan. Would the teachers in Unida Christian colleges be integrating an AI content detector soon?
Okay, I'll go first again, Sir Lem. Um, as I've mentioned to you earlier, I have actually presented the UWAP project, the Academic Observatory project, and one of the tool to for the project to be able to be imagined is the machine learning, right? So machine learning yung gagamitin, but if you're referring to allowing the teacher to have interaction between the students and the by the AI, or let's just say for example chat GPT inside the classroom. I think that's the question no? Na ay aalaw ba or magkakaroon na ba ng chance na ang chat GPT ay nasa loob ng classroom? Actually, sorry for this, no? This would may surprise you, but in robotics under the science department, we allow the chat GPT to be used inside the classroom. Not because this is the policy, but because we allow the students to have a feedback on how this chat GPT actually works in the robotics aspect of the curriculum. And as Sir Lam mentioned earlier, yes, others may not having a hard time to intersect the generative AI or the chat GPT in their codings, no? But still some are becoming unknowledgeable about interacting with this. And maybe I'm not saying that we will allow it in English, science, math, etc. But I don't think that it would just be in a gray section. But I think I would say it's about time. It's about time to review these policies as we have presented to you earlier. Review the policies and let's try to have a discussion and sit down on this. How can this be useful and what are the strengths and weaknesses? That is our objective later in this afternoon. You will be the one, as a student and a teacher, FLT or SLT, will be the one to define the strengths and weaknesses of this, specifically on the usage of the tools inside the classroom. Okay, so that's it. That's my question. I think just give you to clarify my question. Using artificial intelligence inside the classroom is just around the corner, and we're going there. Okay, so thank you.
Sir Lem?
Same thing with my answers earlier. So for me, yes, again, so we need to have this technological advantage as a teacher. So we need first to, of course, since technological versus technology, so we need to have also an AI detector for us to detect if that work of the students are credible, and also again, two things, AI, technology with a heart. So yan, so again, we need to have a background check with our students if they are the one who really do that, if they are capable of do that. If you see something anomaly on the students who work, so of course, one thing for sure, it can be an AI generated, or it can be a work of perseverance of the students. So you need to evaluate as a teacher on that work or output. So baka kasi mamaya i-judge mo agad, uy, ang ganda ng gawa ng bata, ang ganda ng story. Ay, gumawa nito. So no. So you need first to understand and know your student's capability. If hindi lang ba siya marunong sa writing, pero creative yung thinking niya. Ayun. So mamaya kasi they are practicing throughout the time na, oy, and also using AI. They are consulting AI on how to write a short story, on how to solve math and everything. So again, so my answer for that is two. So we can use an AI detector and also as a teacher with the heart.
Thank you, Sir Lem and Sir Josh. Yan. So this particular question, for the next question, it is not addressed to anyone. So either of you can answer or both of you can answer as well. So for this next question is, what are the benefits of artificial intels for students in UCC?
Okay, so siguro short lang, no, to answer the question. The benefits, madami. Sobrang dami on the end of the students. Time efficiency, yes, and as well as in the end of the teacher, time efficiency would be great. Yung pinakita ko on the second to the last part of my presentation, yung uh, digital education as a modern teacher, I saved a lot of time answering the recurring questions of my students. As I have also seeing there, I have a small amount of students who are saying that hindi sila nakakasunod sa klase ko. It's because their questions can be answered any time of the day, anytime and anywhere because of the chatbot or the artificial intelligence. No, time efficiency, I would say, talagang napakalaki ng tulong ng ChatGPT, ng any artificial intelligence, as you said, no? And ano pa ba yung mga benefits, no? Madami sa leadership, madami sa research. Nako, it will really help you save time, a lot of time. And kung dati ay maghahanap ka ng articles, isa-isahin mo, the benefit of the artificial intelligence is that it would help you sort out those literatures that really has something significant to your study, and it would help you. Kasi kung tayo-tayo lang, for example, sa research, we can't read every paper in the world, no? Hindi natin mababasa yon. But with the help of artificial intelligence, we can be addressed using artificial intelligence. What is the trend in relation to your topic? So for the students as well, artificial intelligence will be beneficial to all of you in relation to understanding more about the topic, because we have just a very short time as a teacher to discuss you more on the topic. But if you can't get it directly, you can just ask a help from the artificial intelligence to understand it more. Sabi ko nga, di ba, you can ask the Intel to describe it to you or to define it to you the way you want it to be understood. Like for example, you want to the Intels to tell it to you like a baby or something like that, so that you would really understood it properly. And once you get the concept, then everything is just fine. So ganon. In terms of benefits that the Intels can give to everybody, there's a long list for that, no? But I would just say that it has a benefit, really a lot.
And yes, Sir Josh. Let's continue with the next question first. I believe Mr. Lemuel had problems with his connection, but he will be back in a short while. So continuing, the next question would be, how can we resolve the problem with students utilizing artificial intelligence on cheating assignments and activities? It is open and close parentheses. It's hard for the teachers to assess if the learners had learned anything on their classes if they are continuously using AI to answer the activities provided, making it pointless as a learning application tool. Is there any existing Filipino AI information software for those who are having difficulties on learning English as their used language?
Okay, so I think since this is a advanced questioning, no, earlier I presented that the conversational AI, no, na-present ko doon that the Bisaya language can be translated into English language. Actually, when I went to Thailand, I used the ChatGPT to transfer, to have a conversation with other people using it. So I asked them if what is written or given by the AI is technically how it should be said in the in Thai, and they said yes. It's the way it is written, the way it is being written as their language was exactly the point, no? So ChatGPT is really, really giving us everything, no? Sabi ko nga kanina, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Everything that you're presenting right now is just we allow the portal to open it with you, to all of you here, and allow it yourself to dive it more and creating more how allowing yourself to to know more who is ChatGPT, no, and try to dissect some other things that are good in your classroom, not so good in your classroom, and the thing that can't be compromised and you are not allowing it in your classroom. So let's go back to the question that what can we do by those students who are answering as an assignment, no, in their home. Aside from the osmotic effect, we can use that. Actually, sabi ko nga kanina, it should be the intertwine of the AI and human. So once they submit their paper, you can actually check that first in the tools, as I've said to you. And once you detect something about that, I would say meron talaga siyang madidetect, kahit hindi lahat, meron siyang madidetect. And that's the time for you to have a conversation with the students. Ask them how the subject matter. Ano yung natutuhan nila? Ano yung try the students to describe it and their own understanding. That's the key na eh. No, if kaya nga may human intervention dun kanina sa osmotic effect, kasi hindi pwedeng AI tool lang lahat, no? Sir, that will be time consuming. Wala tayong magagawa, no? It's just that if you want human intervention here, if you want to secure the academic integrity, then you have to intervene. Human should intervene. Kaya nga human intervention eh. So if you think that there's suspicious, no, there's a suspicious in the works of the students, again, uulitin ko, in writing there's a sound. So you as a teacher, you can actually assess that. If you are parang medyo suspicious yung work, you can have a conversation with the students and try to measure how they understood the topic, and then try to secure a private conversation with the students. And then, kasi evaluation yun eh, you need to have a feedback to your students, no? Kahit sabihin natin time consuming, it's part of the teaching learning process to have a feedback. Kasi hindi pwede yung check lang. The students need to know what is the feedback, why I'm just 5/10, why I'm perfect, something like that, no? So have a conversation with the teacher and the students, because teaching learning process siya. So dun mo pwedeng i-open up na, according to this tool, you got a 50% of AI written document, and can you explain me about this? And then if the students would be hesitant to explain that, then that would be the time for you to delve more onto the subject matter. What is the students understood about it? And that will be the chance for you, the time for you to say that, okay, the students is actually having learned about it. Okay, so that's exactly how are you going to do that. Again, uulitin ko, AI osmotic effect, AI human-driven results. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Josh. I believe Sir Lem is already with us. Let's proceed first with the next question addressed to the both of them. And Sir Josh, Sir Lem, this question is for the both of you. It says here, do you think the pros and benefits of utilizing AI in education outweigh the cons and potential risks, such as ethical or security issues like data breaches, misuse of data, copyright, possible information biases, or inaccurate information?
Okay, thank you. No, this is too technical for the students in here. No, I know that, but I don't think, kaya nga sabi ko kanina, pinakita ko yung UAP and the other is that it should just be a tool. Hindi pwedeng gamitin natin siya for such that we want to get the data, like for example, the demographics of the students, no? If that's not applicable in the subject matter, let's not dive into that, no? Doon na lang tayo sa tingin natin na bakit when you check ba the plagiarism through other tool, would it need demographics from the students? I don't think so, no? So these are the tools that you can just get and inject that into the curriculum on the subject matter. But if the question would like to say about the FLT and SLT area, no? Kung ang tanong ay para sa mga leaders na who are administrative tasks, no? Collecting demographics, I don't think that would be it's fair to say that hindi siya safe, no? It is still safe. Bakit? Sobrang tagal na po nating nagbe-breach ng data protection privacy. kahit wala pang AI, wala pa itong mga AI na to, we've been posting a lot about ourselves, no? So let's cut the brouhaha about the data privacy on collecting the name of the students, no? It's been there. We've been breaching a lot of data privacy act of each one of us, no? It's just that there's an ethical. We are an academic institution, and what we are emphasizing here is that why is it being collected and for what? Why is it being collected? No, that's only the point there eh. Na bakit ko na-collecta ang pangalan? And prior to that, students should read the content, why they are being asked of their names, their emails, their addresses, and other information, other personal information. No, ganun lang yun kasimple. Because when we talk about breaching artificial data, I think one of the examples here would be the what do you call that? Yung ginagamit natin pag mag-exam, yung i-check siya.
Zip
What do
grade, sir.
Zip grade, yes. Yan, another example yan, no, of probably having a thin line of breaching the data because it is being collected from an account, no? That's one example. About it, I cannot give you an exact answer to that. Kung yan yung tinutukoy din ng nagtatanong nito. And yes, that's a very good question. But again, it's about time to make a policy who should collect the data. Okay? So ulitin ko po, it depends on the purpose. So why do you do that? Bakit ka gumagamit ng zip grade? And the second question is, who will collect the data? So that there will be somebody who is responsible if the data has been breached. Did you get my point? Because we cannot just put ourselves in the four corners na, oh, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan, hindi mo pa. No. How could we progress if that's our thinking? Diba? So ang dapat natin gawin dito is to create the guidelines in a policy within the premise. Okay? I'm not saying ethical kasi there's no such thing as ethical about it right now. No, wala pa. Okay? So wala pang guide technically on what is ethical and not so ethical about using of AI. Okay? What I'm just telling is that if you subscribe to use zip grade in the classroom, then the question would be why you should do that, or why you should collect that, why you should use that, and who will collect that. That's it, no? And then anything that would breach that, then we have somebody to call upon if the data has been, contaminated or something like that. So I think that's just the right now, no? Yan yung kaya nating masagot when in relation to the pros, the higher pros, or something intersect to the cons of using AI when in terms of data privacy. Okay, so I think that's it. We can proceed to the next question. I think, Ma'am Twinkle.
Sir Lem, do you also want to answer, if ever?
Is here right?
I have seen him already, sir.
Okay.
Maybe we can go back to him later to address this specific question. Yeah, and for now, let's continue with other more questions. It says here, are there any AI software that can help assess psychological behavior or users of users with customization according to the user's profile? The AI software can communicate by the use of chats and provide comfortable space for the user to share without the invasion of private data.
The question is about the behavior, ma'am, no? Detecting the
Yes.
behavior, I think. Sa pagkakaalam ko, not tool yet, but there's not software. But as I've mentioned earlier, meron tayong mga tinatawag na algorithms, no? That's actually part of there is the behavior of the users. So kaya napapansin nyo, yung mga suggested ninyo sa Facebook, sa other platforms, those are actually because of your behavior. Your likes, your dislikes. They are being collected by the metaverse, and they send more datas or more pictures that you like, because that's because of your behavior. Okay. sometimes I don't know if you were able to see that in the Facebook, that you are being asked, would you like to see this more? Something like that, no? So those are the data that can be used, no? Na pwede nating sa coding, pwede siyang mailagay. But I don't know if Sir Lem has an idea about the tool, because as I'm searching, wala akong nakikitang software yet. But there are process and tools being used, like machine learning, something like that, no? Being used, coding, para yung algorithm and behavior of the user is also the same as how you being project in your social media. So kung actually napaka-rampant niyan sa Twitter, di ba? So there are suggestions appearing on your social media. It's because that seems to be close to your behavior, the way you want your social media should appear on the audience. So that's the answer. I think, Ma'am Twinkle, we can accommodate last 2 more questions.
Ask 2 more questions. Okay, sir. And Sir Lem?
Same questions, ma'am. Psychological behavior.
Yes po.
Okay, ma'am. So, my idea for this one and my part is AI still a tool, not a person. So psychological behaviors and assessments can only be judged and evaluated by a person, especially on licensed psychometrician and the actual psychologist. So for this one, are there any AI software that can help assess psychological behavior of users with customization according to profiles? So on this one, psychological behavior of users is already existing. So I see this mechanism on the process of Google Ads. Yan. So on the process of Google Ads, so it collects all of your activities, it collects all of your data. So that's why when you check on your account, especially in Google One account, and all of your timelines and um all of the things that you did, all of the history that you have, you can see that on your Google account. So let's say for example, the timeline or your route history, kung saan ka naglakad, ilang kilometers, ilang oras, anong oras, gaano ka kabilis, all of that are recorded. Hindi ba kayo natatakot sa ganun? Para kayong ini-stalk. Ayan. So that is also part of psychological behavior of the users. That is all collected in a database. And then that can be used as an AI tool. So this AI software can communicate by the use of chats. So by this means, especially in the big companies such as the Googles, OpenAI, and Microsoft, so there is a what they called as reinforcement and safeguards. So wherein all of the data are being used, but not all data and information are being used publicly. It means they are used as an algorithm, they are being used as a foundation for the process, but not your actual data is being used. So for that one, there are so many AI software that can be used for that one. So especially on the generative AI tools. Um, for that one, all I can say is uh, lagi yan nakabantay sa inyo. Ayan. So, especially on your phones. Ayan. So, but on that part, so do not be worried. Especially in the big companies such as Google, Apple. So, your device is secured and safe. Unless you are going to a anomaly or suspicious website or may kinlik ka bang kasama ka ba sa video na to. So, syempre, dun pa lang madadali ka na, no? So wherein all of your data are being breached and all of your data can be used and can be invaded. So that's all for my answer for that question.
Yeah. Thank you, Sir Lem. And maybe we could have last 1 more question, sirs. And so for the last question, it says here, what are the building blocks for parents and teachers who are more inclined in traditional method of teaching on learning and utilizing artificial intelligence to their careers and guide for their students or children. Um, any tips daw po ba? Yan, building blocks for parents and teachers that are not really inclined in traditional method of teaching and learning process.
Okay. So I think I'll start first, no? Una kasi dito is acceptance, the acceptability that we are now in this type of era or industrial revolution. And dito na tayo sa stage na to. If you cannot accept this era, your motivation also goes down. The motivation goes down. Therefore, that are the building blocks, no? Yan yung mga major variables that the teachers or the traditional learning are, I mean, traditional teaching and tutoring of inside the home by the parents. Yun yung mga reasons talaga, no, na bakit mapapansin natin, ito lagi kong naririnig, ako yung mga bata ngayon mas magaling pa sa akin. And why? Bakit kaya? No? That's actually the question. Bakit? It's because students accept that this is the norm. And there's no way for them not to learn about it because all their friends are doing it, right? And that's a time for them to learn about that. And the question is, why you don't want to learn? So how could you empathize if you don't know about it? Diba? So yun eh. I think the answer to that question is that you need to choose. Would you allow yourself not to be with the trend? Be in traditional type of teaching and learning? Or you need to have your time more efficient, and you need to be you want your time to be on time or on trend or something like that, no? You need to do that. There's no other way for you to do or to do na para mas mapagaling pa, no? So far wala mga yung study about who gets higher grades, the one who use the artificial intelligence or being backed up or tutored by artificial intelligence over the backed up and tutored by the parents or the teachers. But here's the catch. There was just an article published by Nature, if I'm not mistaken, no, by or Harvard Library. There was an article published about CPAs passed the exam, and as well as the chat GPT and artificial intelligence also passed the entrance exam. Okay, so those are just the tip of the iceberg. What I'm saying is that if both passed the exams, what is the human doing that we're able to pass the exam, and what the AI doing to pass the exam? So merong dalawa, parehas na nakapass. Our turn here, or our part here as a teacher, facilitator, or as a parents, anong ginamit ni human, anong ginamit ni AI to make it AI in human-driven approach? So if both pass the exam, then why not merge them together and successfully pass the exam too? So I think that is the key, no? Acceptability and motivation. Accept it, and then your motivation goes high. If you did not accept it, the reality of the artificial intelligence, your motivation goes down as well. So you will just be in the four corner in your classroom. Okay, so that's it.
Thank you, Sir Josh. Sir Lem?
Ayan. So I am agree with the answer of Sir Joshua. Pero ito isang masakit lang na salita. Magbago ka na. So yun yung dapat nating sabihin na nandito sa mga traditionals. So not literally na magbabago sila, but in terms they need to change in their self, they need to adapt. So there is one quotation that is being said, I don't know if this is Darwin. It is not the strongest nor the intelligent that survive. It is the one that adapt. So it means on this thriving world, you need to adapt, and then you need to jive with the change. So it means that if you are still on the traditional method of teaching and learning, so you will going to be left behind. So yun siya. Ako ha. So it means that um you need to change. You need to adapt to the change. So again, as I said by Sir Josh, this is the norm of our generations. And also on one talk of Jack Ma by Alibaba, um, in the different progression of industrial revolution, it is not losing the job. Let's say, for example, starting from the steam engine and then on the development of electricity. So, nawala yung mga steam engineers and then pumasok yung mga electricians, mga electronics engineer and electric engineers. Wherein it opens the new possibilities of growth. It opens the possibility of new careers. It opens the possibility of new opportunity. Same thing with the AI. So, it opens more it opens now the gate to a better opportunity, a new career, a new development, a new growth, and a new future, and for the betterment of our generation. So it means if you were going to stay on the traditional method, it's up to you. But if you were going to jive with our generations that can adapt and you want to have a successful generations as of these times, you need to adapt. So that's all my answers for that.
Thank you very much, Sir Lem, and for that. So, the adaptability, yun talaga yung nakuha ko kay Sir Lem. Ayan. So, thank you, speakers, for all your insights and knowledge. For the questions that are not answered during the Q&A, please expect an email from our speakers to address those questions of yours. At this juncture, let us hear the final remarks and announcements. May I call on Sir Josh?
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Twinkle and Sir Lem, for bringing our webinar this far in the morning session. Thank you so much. No, afternoon na pala. So we're really sorry for getting 15 minutes of your time. But yes, for the final remarks, maraming salamat po for joining with us. I know that some of you, I got some concerns that some of you here weren't able to get the email from us, no, and thank you for the initiatives of those who gave the link of this. But yeah, again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you learned something from our discussion this and presentation this afternoon. But I would just like to remind everybody that we hope that we still expect 39 attendees later this afternoon kasi yun na yung application time eh. Doon na tayo sa papaano namin kanina yung mga discussion will be applied according to your groups. No, and there are very short activities lang po siya ha. We will just facilitate the learning and you will be the one by group who will accomplish those tasks. Simple task lang siya. And then we will just collate all those tasks and basta later po, pagbalik ninyo, doon namin i-divulge what are the instructions and what are expected for you to have as an outcome of your activity in the afternoon. I would just like also to remind everybody to please join in the Google Classroom. That's the Google Classroom code po. Please take a picture of that, no? Lahat ng mga nandito ngayon, yes, we will allow you to be part of the Google Classroom that we provide to all of you, because all of the materials we used this afternoon will be uploaded in that, because this actually presentation is part of our EduVerse discourse series, no? Meaning to say there will be a lot more about education universe discourse discussion. So I hope that you will join there, and later in the afternoon, lahat din po ng mga activities output ninyo will be submitted in the Google Classroom. Okay? So yan lamang po, at mamayang tanghali, I hope that you still join us, no, for the success, for the guidelines that we want to make, the policies, the everything. And then after that, we will give that to the administrators. You can also get a copy from that. If you're not from the Unida Christian Colleges, you can get a copy from that as a draft in your own institution. Okay, so I hope everyone will be there. Can we expect a presence of 39 people who are in here? No, so just be there. It's just a very simple Very simple lang siya na workshop, no? But still, it is a very impactful. Students, teachers, SLT leaders, no, who are here, please come later in the afternoon because we'll have it, we'll present, no? So sana 1:30, can we expect everybody to come here at 1:30? Para sa 1:30 kasi doon namin i-discuss what are the instructions needed for you to do as an output later on, okay? So thank you so much. Evaluation will be sent in the afternoon after the workshop. Thank you again, everyone, and have a good lunch.
Thank you so much, Sir Josh, speakers, and participants. For a while. Yeah. So, take your lunch and see you all later this afternoon for the workshop. But before we proceed, can we ask everyone to please turn on your cameras so we can take a photo opportunity for everyone who is in here right now.
Yes, thank you, Ma'am Tinkle. I almost forgot that. No, can we ask everybody to open their camera? Don't worry, when we post this, your name will be omit on the publication. Okay, so can we ask the participants to join us in the photo opportunity, if that is possible on your end? Ayan, I'm seeing here very familiar faces, no? Ayan, hi Doc Malet. Actually, Doc Malet is joining us this afternoon. Hi, Doc. Doc Malet
Hi,
is...
Sir Joshua.
Hello.
Thank you for inviting me here. Such a very informative and substantive discussion. Thank you so much to the speakers.
Thank you, Doc Malet. Who would take a photo? Joy, is that possible on your end to take a photo?
Ready? Ready in 1, 2, 3, smile. Nice, another one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, smile. And thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. And you may now have your lunch. And see you later this afternoon for our workshop. See you.
Dear friends, colleagues, and fellow advocates for a sustainable future, today I stand before you with an unwavering commitment to science literacy and educational leadership for climate action. In this crucial moment in human history, when the fate of our planet hangs in the balance, it is our collective responsibility to empower individuals with knowledge and inspire them to take meaningful action. Science literacy forms the bedrock of informed decision-making and holds the key to addressing the present challenges of climate change. We must bridge the gap between scientific research and public understanding, fostering a society where evidence-based reasoning guides our policies, innovations, and personal choices. Together, we can dispel misinformation, combat skepticism, and cultivate a deep appreciation for the scientific method. Educational leadership is the catalyst that propels this movement forward. As educators, mentors, and influencers, we have the power to shape young minds and mold the next generation of climate leaders. Let us commit to equipping students with the skills they need to navigate the complexities of the 21st century, fostering critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. By integrating climate change education into curricula across disciplines, we can empower students to become active participants in finding sustainable solutions. But our commitment does not end within the confines of classroom. we must extend our efforts beyond the school walls and engage with communities, policymakers, and stakeholders at all levels. We need to be advocates for change, pushing for policies that prioritize sustainability, renewable energy, and environmental justice. By nurturing partnerships with local organizations, governments, and businesses, we can amplify our impact and drive systemic transformation.
My commitment as a robotics specialist teacher is deeply rooted in the belief that education and robotics hold the key to unlocking a brighter future for our planet. By integrating climate action into the education and leveraging the power of robotics, we can empower students to become catalysts of change, driving forward the cause of climate action, protection, and conservation.
I will organize and participate in educational programs, workshops, and events to raise awareness about climate change, its causes, and the solutions available. I will communicate the urgency and importance of climate action, empowering individuals and communities to make informed choices.
My commitment to incorporate the SDGs extend to the long-term impact you can make as future leaders, scientists, and advocates. Remember, each one of us has the power to make a difference, no matter how big or small.
I stand committed to leveraging power of technology for sustainable development. By understanding the laws of nature, we can develop clean energy technologies, mitigate climate change, and create a better future for all.
As a science teacher, my primary goal is to ignite your passion for science, equip you with essential knowledge and skills, and empower you to make a positive difference in our rapidly advancing society.
As a capstone teacher, in recognizing the urgency and gravity of deforestation and pollution, I pledge to incorporate these by sharing awareness and education among students.
As a grade 12 capstone research teacher, my dedication to sustainable development goal 30 climate actions is unwavering. By incorporating climate change topics into the curriculum, encouraging students' research projects, and organizing sustainability initiatives.
My commitment as a science teacher to the topic of climate change goes beyond the classroom. I firmly believe that through education, we have the power to shape a generation of environmentally conscious individuals who will strive to mitigate the impacts of climate change and safeguard our planet's future.
In my classroom, I strive to create an environment where each student feels seen, heard, and valued. I firmly believe that education is not just about academic achievements. It is about building meaningful connections, instilling confidence, and empowering students to embrace their unique strengths.
A science teacher in senior high school committed to demonstrating sustainability in various ways, such as reducing energy consumption, using eco-friendly products, recycling, and supporting conservation efforts.
Educating ourselves and others about climate issues and advocating for policy changes are crucial. Let us unite in this global endeavor, committing to climate action for a healthier, more sustainable future for all.
We'll join forces with local businesses, governments, institutions, and nonprofits, maximizing our impact through collaboration and community engagement.
I commit to being a part of an organization that can help to protect and nurture the environment. Every person who is willing to help and protect our environment will be an asset to leading a greener environment where every living organism is healthy and lively.
Climate change is one of the most pressing global crises that affects everyone. We cannot see it, but we feel it. I also want to make commitment
to share my ideas and knowledge on how to mitigate and adapt to the effects of the climate change. Of course, in order to fulfill this commitment, we must start to advocate and actively participate in sustainable practices in our daily life. For us to be able to do that, we need to adopt, innovate, and embrace the changes for the future generation.
I firmly believe that in order to accomplish Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which focuses on quality education, we must confront and take decisive action regarding the entrenched issue of climate change. It is imperative that we foster a generation of environmentally literate, resilient, and empowered individuals who are equipped to make sound decisions, take responsible actions, and are self-sustaining for the community and society.
Innovations, collaboration, transformative learning, hands-on learning experts, real-life application, quality education, molding young minds, critical thinking, adaptation.
It is our duty to champion diversity, inclusivity, and equal access to education. We must strive to eliminate the disparities that hinder progress, ensuring that marginalized communities are not left behind in the fight against climate change. By providing opportunities for underrepresented voices to be heard and empowering individuals from all backgrounds to engage in scientific inquiry, we can build a more equitable and resilient future. The road ahead may be challenging, and the obstacles we face are significant, but we are fueled by a shared vision of a sustainable and thriving planet. Let us embrace collaboration, innovation, and the power of collective action. Together, we can inspire a global movement for science literacy and educational leadership that catalyzes meaningful change. Today, I commit myself to this cause, to dedicating my time, expertise, and passion to promote science literacy and educational leadership for climate action. I invite each one of you to join me in this endeavor, for it is through our collective commitment and unwavering determination that we will forge a path towards a sustainable future. Thank you.
In this video, we will be examining the engineering behind this submersible